This is James Arnold Taylor, voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Welcome to a more civilized podcast. This is the podcast you're looking for. You may not go about your business. Stay here, listen, and then move along.
Well, hello there, listeners. I'm giving up the hello there. I think, maybe. I
mean,
know.
that was a hello there.
Yeah,
it just
we're
wasn't
doing
hello
it.
there.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't hello there, but it was still hello there. It's okay. You can hello there however you want.
Howdy, y'all.
Never mind.
Alrighty. Well, after that failure, I'm Kyler.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ross.
Oh, shoot. We're in a silly mood. Anyway, Ross, you have some stuff to share for us, don't you?
We have some newsy news.
Big news.
So
Big news.
newsy. Big newsy news.
Yep, the big news.
So, we have several things in the way of Mandalorian
The first
news.
piece of big news is, guys, episode 9's coming out this year. Did you hear about this? Like, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Might have flown under your radar.
Yeah, move on.
It's a good try, Chris.
Thanks.
Yeah, trying to help you out. It just didn't
No,
work.
it's all right.
Yeah.
It was lame even for a dad joke to begin
Yeah.
with. So I own it. It's
Good
okay.
job. First,
Man,
we
I'm
have...
so excited for episode 9, though. There's our missing interrupting Ross. Woo!
I'll wait.
The look of defeat.
I'll wait till you're done.
Here,
you
we'll
sound
just
like
do the normal news.
Go for it.
Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah, the regular news, the big
Because I already
news.
started the newsy news.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope, we've taken it over. It's no
Well,
longer
if
the
you're
newsy
not
news.
doing it, it's not
in the
newsy news.
episode.
Hey, Kyler, does this sound like newsy news to you? Doesn't you see
Nope,
this
I
here?
see no newsy news
Yeah,
in
it
there
looks
anywhere.
like big news.
Yep.
You know how much of this I could cut out? Give me that. All right.
Give me that being his phone with the
That's
news.
right. With the news on it. So first, we have IGN has released an article.
Not to be confused with IG-11.
Yes. That's a good one. I like that. They need to rebrand.
Yeah.
They have released an article that has several cast interviews. It looked like it was from D23 with the Mandalorian cast.
Namely with Giancarlo Esposito and
Gina
Taika
Carano
Waititi
and
and
Taika
Gina
Waititi.
Carano. Yes.
Just talking a little bit about their experience on the film.
The television show.
Yeah, which looks like a film, so I'm going to think of it as a film. I mean, there wasn't a lot new news there. People did ask about Taika Waititi and his usage or how he was going to create the voice for IG-11. Didn't really answer the question, just said it was hard.
He said it was. Well, he was just so silly in that response.
Yeah. Well, and then when he does get kind of serious, he just says it
Gina
was hard.
Carano
and
didn't really
moved on.
say much, but
Well, I mean, that's kind of the equivalent of like, where do you get your ideas? It's like, you know, I mug people on the street and tell them to give me ideas.
That's what we ought to do. Just walk down like University Avenue in Provo, beating up nerds. Hey, give me your ideas.
Really inconspicuous, yeah.
Yeah. I know a place we can hide out too,
Sure you do.
because I work there.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just kind of cool to see their excitement, especially with Giancarlo Esposito. Never seen that
Giancarlo.
man so animated, or whatever his name is.
Giancarlo.
Giancarlo.
Yep, I'm so
Isn't that what I
excited.
said?
You said John Carlos.
I'm an American.
An ignorant American.
I don't do accents.
Yeah, I've never seen him that animated. Like, you know, whenever he's playing, I've seen him in roles that weren't necessarily, you know, Gus Fring dour, but I've never seen him geek out, and that was really
he was
entertaining.
there. You could tell he was clearly just like a little kid.
Yeah,
at
he was.
the fact
He's
that he
like
gets to be
slightly
in
short
Star
of
Wars,
giggling.
you know? Yeah. There were a couple of times where I thought he was gonna like giggle a little bit. He was so excited. But we got a little bit of news like about, or a little bit of info about his character. So he's playing a Moff
Gideon.
Gideon.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. A Moff trying to hold it together in a post-Empire world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that dynamic on the show.
Yeah.
Just him versus the world, I guess.
Or even other moths. Because
Yeah,
there was
could
something I read about it that's going to be... I don't know how much it's going to tie into this particular story, but that this is when the Empire is shattered, and so now you have all these moths that are trying to pick together. So
yeah, that's gonna be a really interesting aspect of the show. I'm very excited to see that.
who knows if they'll do that very much with him versus other Moffs. I think we could have heard about that.
Love that. Well, maybe.
Well, given that we're
But they-
focused on the Mandalorian, though, I would wager that it's, he has to like go into this guy's territory to get something or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think that's how it would be framed, is that Moff Gideon is like, hey, I need something done. I can't be seen to getting this thing done. Why don't I hire you to go get this thing done?
Or that way,
And
yeah.
screw
Well,
this other Moff over or something.
His interview made it sound like it's going to be the opposite, where they're actually working in opposition.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
but also remember he can't give away the whole show, and things can develop.
But we've
over
also
time.
already seen him being hired by Werner Herzog, so I would wager that Werner Herzog is the one undercutting
Maybe,
Gideon.
yeah. So, yeah, either way, a lot to look forward to, and just over a month until we get to find out.
That's right.
At least the first episode.
In fact, by the time this is going live, it'll be
Less than a month.
less than a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Oh boy, guys, I'm so excited.
So,
Oh,
moving
and
on.
wait, and it releases on a Wednesday too. Isn't November 12th a Wednesday? Let's go find out. To the calendar! Whoops, not the calculator. The calendar!
While he's doing that, we'll continue talking about The Mandalorian.
And I'll
because
continue interrupting Ross. Oh, just kidding. Go ahead. I give you permission.
Except that now you've got the November calendar there. So
Yeah.
what day is the 12th?
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
So, yeah. Oh,
So we'll be
boy.
able to give you some feedback. Right? Not really. No.
No.
Not going to do that to us.
Yeah. Oh.
You can get some feedback in our Facebook group
I was
or
gonna
on
say,
Twitter
So,
if you want to head over there.
we'll all take work off on Tuesday and watch it in the morning and then record.
Oh, I'm so down
Yeah,
for that.
let's do it.
I'm planning on
doable.
being very ill that day anyway.
Yeah. I feel a cold coming on.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not like Kyler's boss has ever listened to our podcast at all. Hi, leader.
We should be fine. He's far enough behind.
Yeah, because leader won't already know why you're sick anyway.
Yeah. No, Leader's cool enough. Leader, by the way, owns all the Dragon's Keep comic and game stores here in Utah County, which is where I patronize for all of my Star Wars comic book and game needs. But he's cool enough that I could probably just be like, Leader, I need that day off.
Yeah.
I think you know why.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
Yep. So,
I guess it
more
depends on if they...
More Mandalorian news.
It depends on if they have a time of day that it releases. Because if it's like midnight 01, then I would just watch it like in the morning. But
Yeah.
if it's not till like 5 p.m. Eastern or something like that, then
That's fair.
anyway. Okay, I'm done. Ross.
So Dave Filoni
I've hurt
recently
Ross's
talked
feelings
about the
genuinely.
Mandalorian.
I'm sorry, Ross. I won't interrupt you anymore.
That's good because I haven't read this article, so I need him to.
It's just 3 episodes in a row, man. 3 episodes in a row.
Technically, it was 2 episodes and then a lost episode. So.
Yeah. Just consider this my passive aggression for the newsy news. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Okay. So, Dave Filoni there's been an article talking something about Dave Filoni. I don't know.
I could have done that, Ross.
Who's reading this news? Kyler?
Yeah. No, so it looks like Gizmodo has somehow got an interview with Dave Filoni, who is normally the creator of all the cartoons. The Star
Correct.
Wars cartoons.
All the cartoons.
Yeah,
All of
he's,
them.
he's
Every
the
cartoon you have
current-
ever watched and enjoyed.
All the ones
Dave
about
Filoni.
Star Wars. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's the current
Also
head
all the
of
others.
Lucasfilm Animation.
Correct.
So anything that is animated is under Dave Filoni's auspices.
Yeah.
But that was the old news because with him being such good friends with Jon Favreau, he is directing some episodes of The Mandalorian. And so in this article that we are talking about, he talks about his nervousness in going into it because it's a new medium for him.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to get just kind of his thoughts in going into it. It'll be fine. If they were confident enough in his ability to give him the pilot episode, it'll be fine.
Well, and also Filoni studied with George Lucas for years, specifically about Star Wars, and picking George's brain on how he world builds and all that kind of stuff. And I love the Clone Wars. It's super popular. Rebels is really, it's becoming almost as popular as Clone Wars. Now, I know Steven's a diehard. He loves Rebels. A lot of people like Rebels more than Clone Wars, but overall, like, it's kind of getting up into Clone Wars in terms of fan loyalty and love. Resistance probably won't get as high as those two. I think part of it will be just because it only has 2 seasons.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but it's still solid. storytelling, as far as the overall story goes. So in Filoni, I trust, man. I think he's going to do a great job with this.
Yeah,
I am stoked.
Yeah, it'll be great. Continuing on now into game news, the second chapter of the Vader Immortal VR game, I believe, is not released yet. Is upcoming here soon.
Yeah, and this was advanced stuff released.
Yeah. We have there was a little trailer, a little blurb about it, where you get to fight a 4-armed Rancor. So.
I went and looked at it, and I didn't see so the article said it was 4-armed, but I looked at the little video or whatever, and I couldn't see 4 arms.
I didn't look at it close enough. Yeah.
Either they've seen more footage than we have, or I don't know what. But.
Which is possible. I think we reported on it before, but this one, the first chapter of this was more focused on the saber combat, and the second chapter is going to be more force powers.
Yeah.
So I know that the press has been in and out and has been familiar with it, so they probably know things we don't. And continuing on from that, we also have a trailer released for Jedi Fallen Order, which is
it's a good week for news, honestly.
Releasing. Yeah. So
when does New Order come out, or Fallen Order?
Fallen Order. I don't remember the date specifically. I think it's.
I'll look it up.
Is it next month?
Yeah, it's soon. It's really soon.
Very soon. November 15th.
Oh my goodness!
So, yeah.
Boy, it's gonna be a good week.
Is that the same week as Disney
Yeah.
Plus?
Yeah. Mandalorian on the 12th, so on Tuesday, and then that'll release on Friday.
Yeah.
So everyone just get sick that week, and
you know what? Boy, that is a big week, because I think that's also about the same week as that Journal of Luke Skywalker Path of the Force book that we talked about a few weeks ago. I think that
sounds
well. Right. Yeah. So
there's a lot coming out between now and then, because Force Friday was last week, the Triple Force Friday, and
also, unless surprising things have happened, the rumors are that the next Star Wars trailer is going to be here soon.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying the 18th. I think it was the 18th. Whatever that week is for football. I think the tickets are going to go on sale, and the trailer's going to drop that week.
You know what else drops on the 18th? Star Wars Legion Clone Wars core set.
Does it?
And B1 and B1 battle droids and Phase 1 clones.
There we go.
Looking forward to that.
So Star Wars likes the holiday season.
They sure do.
Man. Yep.
They know your money's up for spending, and they want it all.
That's very true. So, go watch the trailer. I'm excited for the game. Not enough to pre-order, because I have opinions. But
yeah, EA, think twice before you pre-order.
Well, we'll be watching the news the week before, because again, that's the best indicator is whether it'll be good or not.
Yep.
Whether those reviews come out early or not.
Yep.
So,
what are we doing today, Ross?
Well, today we are finishing up our villains bracket.
Woo!
Oh yeah, that
Villains!
thing.
So while I was reading the news, I saw your note in the set list of "Take it away, Ross," and I was like, "Wait, what am I?" It's me. Oh, right. So
you were going to present to us on video games. That's why we had all the video game news, Ross.
I was so worried.
Come on.
No, today we are finishing up our bracket. We are taking the winners of our previous 2 episodes, both left and right sides, and all those conferences, and finally finding out the baddest villain in the galaxy.
And then I have a surprise at the end.
So are we looking for the worst villain or the best?
The most villainous villain.
Most villainous. Okay. As before,
the person who's best at being the villain.
Correct. As before, I am judging, and these two are discussing the ins and outs of our villains according to 3 criteria, which would be their villain panache or their, what do we call it?
Imposing presence.
Imposing presence.
Their personal lethality / ability to cause mayhem, destruction, pain, chaos around them.
And then what was the third one?
Their disregard for life.
Disregard for life.
Yep.
So, and as we said last time, if this is your first episode, you really need to go back and listen to the others.
Yeah.
Because this one's
It'll
gonna go
be
a lot
more
faster.
fun.
So, we're not going to spend as much time explaining who these people are. We're just
going I want to offer a correction because I got a scathing tongue lashing from Steven.
Oh, yeah, I saw
So, there's a reason why we #fact check a Steven on this show. Because when we rarely step out of line, Steven is there to crack the whip and make sure we're only reporting the most correctest Star Wars information. So, on our list from 2 weeks ago? Yes.
3 weeks ago now.
4 weeks ago?
1, 2, 3.
4 weeks ago.
3 episodes ago.
No.
Yeah. Because we didn't
3 episodes
put one between 1 and 2.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so 3 episodes ago. Right. Yep, I can do math. We talked about a Jedi or a Force-using Gungan who we called Cleef. Cleef is apparently like Legends. So I saw when I was looking up villains to put on this list. Cleef, I saw the Gungan showing up in a list of villains, and I was like, oh, yeah, that guy. And that's the guy that we discussed on the show. We just improperly named him.
Mm-hmm.
His name is actually Richelieu.
Did Steve tell you that?
Steve did tell me that.
Steve.
So he corrected me on that one. Him and Emily apparently spent several hours.
So his name is Richelieu?
Yes, Cardinal Richelieu, bad advisor, evil advisor. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Subtle Star Wars.
Not that it matters because he got knocked out in the first round anyway.
But
so
it's good to have the correction.
I wanted to get it out there. I
There would
apologize.
be no point in having a fact checker if we didn't occasionally listen to him.
Yes, exactly. So thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Stephen's girlfriend.
This is what we pay him the big bucks for.
Whose name is Emily because I remember.
Good job.
And yeah, thanks for fact checking us, man. Whew. And sorry you lost to me in Armada when I kicked your butt. So I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. We were trying out a new format, and I narrowly pulled out a victory. it was pretty close.
All right, fellas, we ready to do this?
Woo.
Yes, sir.
I'm so ready.
This first one's gonna be a big one, I think. We have the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader, versus the Dark Witch of the Sith.
Not a Sith.
Yeah.
Mother Talzin.
Ooh.
All right.
All right. Personal lethality. I
Vader.
think Vader. And
Wiping out all the Jedi, like.
Yeah, and then the widespread destruction. That's Vader.
Yeah.
I mean, he's wielding 2 Death Stars willy nilly. I mean,
Well, he
with
wasn't the one.
Tarkin,
Yeah.
but he's not like, well, maybe we shouldn't nuke Alderaan from orbit. He's like, oh, we're nuking Alderaan from orbit? Cool.
Yeah.
You know, like
Whatevs.
And I mean, pretty callous disregard for life. Disregard for
Absolutely.
life. Equal, room full of Padawans.
Yep, it's hard to
So-
overcome that one.
Talzin,
Imposing presence.
they're both quite imposing, just in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Vader's an iconic villain for a reason, right?
Natch.
Part of the look, the big cape, it does help bulk up the presence, which is already impressive considering David Prowse's bulk.
Yes.
But I mean, so that's really scary. But Talzin looks like the Scream mask, like, turned Star Wars. Like, she's got that white skull-looking face with the dark circles around the eyes. She's got the creepy, like, always, like, moving and floating, like, little tenderly pieces of her cloak behind her and
She
stuff.
is pretty creepy.
Like, but I think that's it. I think Vader is more imposing. She's more creepy.
I'd say those are both worthwhile villainous qualities.
Well, no,
though.
they for sure are.
We've
but,
been calling it imposing presence, but I think
Yeah.
those would kind of put them on equal footing.
No, and I just wanted to differentiate what I think.
Yeah.
Because they're both scary, but I think she's scary from a creepy standpoint, where Vader is scary from just a more imposing.
Yeah, intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating.
Death.
Yeah, so I don't know, but, like, okay, so here's my pitch for Vader. At least in this category, anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm leaning Vader anyway, so.
Just that hallway scene in Rogue One where it's pitch black and then the lightsaber comes on and he just starts marching forward without a care in the world, and you just know that, well, it's been nice knowing everyone, like
everybody's dead.
There's just hopelessness, and that is just scary. Like, I remember watching that for the first time in the theater. I knew it was coming. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, are we going to get to see Vader in action? We're going to get to see Vader in action. The hallway's all dark, and then you start to hear the breathing, and I'm like, I remember I was so excited. I reached over and I grabbed my wife's leg, and she was like, ow, you're hurting me. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so excited. Oh, we're going to get to see Vader kill people. And it was terrifying. It really was terrifying that first time watching that, just being like, holy crap, like, this is Vader off his leash, Oh, so yeah, my vote's going for Vader, even though Talzin is really creepy, and especially when she's like raising the dead.
I think
and
it's
stuff
definitely
on
one of
Dathomir.
those situations where we have a lot more context for Vader. We know a lot more of what he's done. He's been in a lot more, and that tends to tip him over easily. Like maybe she could have contended if we'd seen more of her, but I'd say Vader is
But
yes,
also,
the clear winner.
like, Talzin's powers are impressive, but she never really leaves Dathomir.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Yeah.
Vader is like, oh, there's a new planet the Empire hasn't touched. What can I do there? You know,
Yeah.
who needs killing over there? So yeah, it's got to be Vader.
Cool. Chris, you agree?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Next, we have Darth Maul versus Pong Krell.
Double-bladed lightsaber versus double-bladed lightsaber squared. Yeah. Well, Maul gets the imposing presence, I think.
Yes, it's hard to beat Maul's imposing
Maul
presence.
versus a Jedi, basically, as far as imposing presence
I mean, an
goes.
imposing Jedi.
It is an imposing Jedi, but he doesn't look menacing in
Yeah.
the same way that Maul does.
Yeah.
And not to the same degree either. I mean, that whole, like, let's look at pictures of the devil from different cultures and make that a Star Wars character. Like, that's Maul's inspiration.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty... Personal lethality, I'm probably going to give it to Pong Krell.
I was going to say
personal,
Pong Krell is...
But then widespread destruction... Maul actually doesn't cause that much.
I was going to say, Maul's
destruction.
not... Like, he ends up, especially once he's on his own devices, he ends up mostly, like... Yeah, there's plenty of crime and problems that he causes and destruction, but it's not
widespread.
It's not widespread. It's not as like he's a crime boss. Like he's trafficking in various substances.
True. I
and
didn't
he's
even
doing
think
this
about
and
that. I was
and-
thinking Episode 1 and the pre-Episode 1 comic, Darth Maul comic.
Yeah.
But even then, it's mostly like, well, I want to kill Jedi. My master says no, so I'm going to sneak away and kill a Padawan so that I can kill a Jedi.
Yeah.
Woo! And like, yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
But
Well, but and
not
I
super
also think it's a
widespread.
particular bit of like once he was out from under Palpatine's thumb, he became a crime lord, but not necessarily. You know, he's not engaging in the kind of widespread
Yeah.
destruction that Dooku and Palpatine and so many others are.
where Krell is literally, and we talked about this last
Yeah.
time we mentioned Krell, where he's like, cool, I have this many clones. What's the best way to get as many of them killed as I can? Okay, let's go with that plan, you
Which
know?
kind of also lends itself to disregard for life. Like,
Although both are pretty
yeah,
disregard for life. But Maul genuinely cares about Savage Press.
yes, he
and
does.
Pong Krell doesn't seem to care much about anybody but
Does Maul
himself.
care about really anyone else, though?
Not really, but Pong Krell doesn't care about anybody else beside himself.
That's fair.
Maul has at least +1 on that.
I kind of feel like this is pretty evenly divided.
Jeez Louise. Ross, give us a tiebreaker. I can't decide here. I mean, I want it to be Maul.
I want it
Feels
to
like
be Maul
should
too,
be Maul,
but I don't want to. But I'm worried my own bias is
Yeah,
pushing
but
me
the
that way, yeah.
criteria I'm going, they're pretty evenly matched. One's a little bit over the other, but then both are kind of equal on some other ones. So,
All right. So, which of these two is least likely to walk single file on a crowded sidewalk?
I feel like if it's crowded and they wanted to get through, they would probably just mow everybody down.
Yeah, I don't
with
feel
the
like either of these
lightsaber.
guys would really hesitate.
Pong Krell probably. Well, okay. What? I guess we're doing height of villainy, right? For each of these,
Yeah.
like the height of their power. So Pong Krell has already been outed as a villain, because if it's prior to being outed, he would walk in single file line to keep up appearances, even though inside he'd probably be like, I could just kill all of you and that'd make my life easier. But height of villainy, he's already been discovered by the clones, the secret's out, he can just go full on crazy. I don't think that's a good one. I think that's another tie, because I think
Yeah.
they would both just be like, out of the way, peasants, one way or another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one of these is most likely to not return their shopping cart?
Maul.
Really?
I think Maul.
Why?
I think he would look down more on the rules of society that want me to put the shopping cart away, while Pong Krell would be like, well, it's right there, I can like shove it at least towards it.
I kind of feel like Pong Krell's more the type to just be like, I don't care. I'll just leave this here. And Maul's more the type to be like, I can use this. I'm taking this. Which I would argue is worse. So he's going to steal the shopping cart, not just...
Yeah. All right, so it's Maul.
Yeah,
But that's a close one.
that
Like,
is
that really
surprisingly,
could
yeah,
go
that's
either way.
surprisingly close.
Let us know who you would have picked, listeners.
Yeah.
Out of that fight.
I feel like Maul was the
They're
right
sitting here
choice.
like, Krell never would have made it there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
right. Forgot. We did it all wrong the first time.
Next, we have Asajj Ventress versus Kylo Ren.
My two favorite goths.
I'll ship that.
Okay.
Guess she'd be kind of
So-
old by the time he comes along, but still.
Well, Height of Villainy.
If we could like time travel her forward, I'd ship that. Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
bet that ship's
you
not
know.
already out there. Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most ships involving Visage Ventress are probably already out
Yeah,
there.
no, that's the thing.
She's so dang sexy. The look on Ross's face. Oh, you guys. This needs to be a YouTube channel. Okay. Wow. So, personal lethality. Ventress. God, you know, I'm going to give it to Ventress. I
Really?
think. Kylo's got more rage. Ventress has more finesse and better control. I think she'd be able to take Kylo Ren in a fight.
I don't know about that. No.
No.
With this is Kylo Ren, I am stopping blaster bolts in the air.
Yeah.
We just saw him in a trailer, like force manipulating someone's arm from across the galaxy. Like,
And Kylo Ren is definitely going to dominate in the ability to spread destruction and death.
absolutely.
Like-
Well, and also I'm just thinking of that move that we were discussing earlier, where Yoda turned off Ventress's lightsabers and just stole them. Like, oh yeah, Kylo Ren can pull that off.
Well, that was also earlier Ventress. She gets
Sure,
pulled
sure, but still.
Yeah, still. So then, imposing. Ventress has the cool Dathomir Witch, like, face
does.
look thing going on. And she's got a really good villain voice.
She does.
Like, better, I think it's a better villain's voice than Kylo Ren. Especially when he's out of his helmet. But,
Out of the helmet, sure.
Kylo does cut an imposing figure. It is clearly Vader-esque
Mm-hmm.
with a more German World War II helmet, Nazi helmet look
Yeah.
to it. So there's some real world points for it.
I would also argue that Kylo Ren looks more menacing when he has the cowl on. Just that little
I
head
agree.
scarf thing.
Yeah. But then Ventress has the dual lightsabers, which I quite like.
I do like her dual lightsabers, yes. I could see that one
Gosh.
being a tie, like,
Yeah.
because she is pretty darn imposing, really. When you just like, a part of me is tempted to be like, I don't know. I've seen
See-
Ventress get her butt handed to her so many times,
But
but then I'm
for
like, but
me,
it's
one of
Kylo Ren.
the-
I've seen him whine so much that it was
For me, one of the imposing, like the factors for imposing for Ventress is, I can't remember if it's season 1 or 2, but they've invaded like a Republic ship or something like that. They've landed on it, and Ventress, there's clones running down the hallway. One of them's like, okay, you guys keep going, I'm gonna try to hold them off. And she like starts choking him with the Force, pulls out her lightsaber, turns it on, and then pulls him forward on to the lightsaber, and then kisses him while he's dying. It's like, dude,
I always just found that
That's-
weird.
oh, I loved it. I was like, that's so bad of her. I love it.
I just don't see the appeal. I'm not sure why she kissed him. Though.
Because she's creepy and weird and evil.
I think they wanted to go the evil, sexy route, but they kind of dropped it after that episode. So
I don't know. I feel like I can give that one a tie, but I don't know if I can give it to
Alrighty.
Ventress winning.
So then, disregard for life. I think Ventress has that. Kylo clearly is
no, she does not.
Oh, she does too, Ross.
Stop.
Impartial Judge Ross.
Stop.
Well, I mean, okay, let's see. How many planets has she authorized the destruction of?
Oh, that's true. But
I mean, he wasn't the one who
Kylo-
authorized it, but he was part of the whole
Kylo
endeavor.
clearly is showing signs of, he's
Did
feeling...
she murder her parents?
No, her parents were murdered.
Oh, yeah.
and
Kylo murdered his father.
If I'm remembering correctly, doesn't Ventress
But he doesn't
also,
kill his mom. He doesn't kill Rey when he probably
That's
should
true.
have.
Doesn't Ventress also like show mercy to Ahsoka and like team up?
We're
with her
talking
for a
height
little
of
bit?
villainy, Ross.
Well, that's if we're talking height of villainy, then we're not counting Kylo Ren sparing Leia, like by that argument. So
Yeah.
Well, but it is, though. I mean, because he still is like, hey, now that we've killed Snoke, like,
yeah,
join
but
me, let me continue to
Ventress
be
is still
the...
like this is still Ventress.
right.
These are things that Ventress did.
Okay.
And then there's the whole executing an entire village. That's
Yeah.
how we meet Kylo Ren. I don't know. I mean, Kylo's clearly like walking a line here where he's tempted back to the
So
good
we're
side.
tied on the second and third ones, and the first one, the personal lethality, went to Kylo.
Yeah.
I don't believe we've established a tie.
Well, I mean,
First one.
even if we're not tied, I don't think Ventress is winning it, which would tie everything.
Yeah. All right, so Kylo
I
moves
kind of feel
on.
like Kylo moves on, yeah. much as I like Ventress.
Oh, that makes me sad. Okay.
Next, we have Emperor Palpatine versus General Grievous.
General Kenobi. I'm just kidding. General Grievous. You're shorter than I expected.
Senator Palpatine.
Darth Sidious? You're the same? Spider-Man meme pointing at himself. Oh, man. So...
I actually think I'd give imposing presence to Grievous here.
Yeah. Yeah, Palpatine isn't super imposing.
Especially if you go to that, like, Grievous's Fortress or whatever, that episode.
Lair of Grievous.
Yeah, Lair of Grievous.
That's such a good episode.
He's intense in that one. I mean, he can be quite intense in a lot of them, but that one in particular shows off some of the unsettling creepiness of his design.
Yeah, he's great.
And Palpatine's, an old guy in a robe.
Especially when they're peeling the face mask off of him.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like all sticking to it and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's screaming and stuff. Oh, that's such a good episode. Holy crap. Oh, man. Go watch Lair of Grievous. It literally won awards for its production.
Yep.
It's so good. Personal lethality. Palpatine's got the Force and Force lightning versus a robot specifically.
Well, a robot that we routinely see get his butt handed to him in lightsaber duels.
Yeah.
Without Force lightning either. That can't be good for a robot's circuitry.
Yeah. And Palpatine is not just capable with that lightsaber, he is clearly unexpectedly competent with that.
Yeah.
Like, and as far as mass widespread destruction, it's like, well, on the one hand, Grievous gleefully did all of this, but it was all at Palpatine's behest. Like, Palpatine engineered all of this.
And Palpatine's got 2 Death Stars to his name.
That's true.
So Palpatine wins that one.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give Grievous points for just, like, I would say that Palpatine's interests are more selfish. Like, he just wants power. It's pretty simple, whereas Grievous is almost just like, it's not like he's in it for the power. He just likes the destruction in some ways.
Well, and I was just going to say, as far as disregard for life,
yeah.
I think Grievous has that. Palpatine is perfectly willing to kill people, but he doesn't necessarily do it for fun.
But then again,
Grievous
there's also just a certain maliciousness in Palpatine's. Like, Palpatine doesn't just disregard life, he abuses it. Like,
yeah.
And even people like, you look at the Vader comics where he's setting up trials and traps for Vader, and just he's not good to anyone.
I wonder if it's more in Palpatine's mind. There isn't such a thing as another person. It's all just pawns.
Well, yeah, he's a narcissist.
Because there's no situation where he isn't just using everyone around him.
And also, I kind of like to, if I were going to sum up Palpatine's attitude towards life and the destruction thereof, I would go for the moment when he's fighting Yoda and just laughing his head off the entire time, where it's like, I've had to be in control all this time and now I just get to let loose, and this is what was underneath, is me just laughing. And Palps is, there's a reason he's the bartender at the villain pub. Like,
yeah,
he owns the joint.
I don't know, man, because Grievous, especially when Grievous knows that he's more powerful than the other person, there are episodes where he's like, oh, there's a couple of Padawans here, awesome, let me go at this. So they, and like, he's taunting him the whole way before he kills him. And I mean, he enjoys death a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that Palpatine doesn't enjoy death, though.
Grievous
he just hides it.
Tells the crew of the Malevolence, the droids under his command, to hunt down survivors that were caught, any escape pods or whatever that were caught in the Malevolence's ion cannon burst, to crack open the escape pods and remove the helmets of the survivors in space. Like, that's the method of execution.
But you're saying that, like, Palpatine wouldn't do something like that?
Palpatine would probably just blow up their ship a la Death Star. But that's what I'm saying, is I don't think Palpatine is necessarily that much more callous to life than Grievous is.
I see, but okay, I can see that, because that is definitely a certain amount of glee in the pain of others that Grievous displays there.
I'm also thinking about how he does interact with Palpatine. He grovels
Well, he knows Palpatine is more powerful than he is. That he's the one, like, okay, you've set this up. I'm your underling for now.
But he cowers. I mean, when he's on that call with Palpatine in Episode 3, he's face to the ground, bowing. You know, whereas like when Sith, even when an apprentice to their master, they obviously know who's in charge, but there's always that kind of underlying resentment.
Well, yeah, but that's more the Sith way. He's not necessarily a Sith. He's out to kill Jedi and as many of them as he can, and anybody that he can along the way. Grievous is.
I don't know. Like, part of me is like, of course it's Palpatine, but part of me wants to be like, no, I don't want to be biased about this. Same as we did with Maul. But I just... He's one of the villains. Like, there's a reason. I mean, I don't want to give a foregone... I feel like that's giving a foregone conclusion to this entire bracket, though, if I do that. But why don't you give us a tiebreaker, Ross? Let's see. Just in case. Even if with this tiebreaker, I might still go back and be like, nah, let's re-argue this thing.
Who is more likely to finish a food item and put the empty container back in the fridge?
Palpatine.
Yeah.
And he'd frame someone else for it.
Yes,
like, let's be clear.
He'd frame Grievous.
He'd frame someone else for it, specifically so that he could cause a fight between those two that would be advantageous to him either way.
Dang it. I really wanted Grievous to go ahead.
You made it. You did a good go of it.
Alrighty. Mostly just because I was like, I want like one non-Force user to make it a little bit further.
Well, we'll see. We've still got our officer.
Well, no, in that particular
in that
conference.
particular bracket,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
You wanted a non-Force user to move through
Yeah, because
the
Grievous
Force
doesn't
user
have the
bracket?
Force.
He's literally the only person in that bracket that doesn't have the Force.
Yep. It's Force / lightsaber users. Because that's where Grievous wanted to go.
He wanted to.
Yeah. Next,
Talk to me, remember.
we have Agent Callus versus Grand Moff Tarkin.
Ooh.
Yeah, Tarkin. I don't really need to debate this. Like,
Personal lethality, I think Callus could take Tarkin in a fight, but widespread destruction, Tarkin all the way. That's like his whole political career is. What can I get away with?
Yeah. Personal imposingness, I'm going to give it to Tarkin.
Yeah, he's just got that
Maybe if Callus shaved the sideburns,
Yeah.
but
But then it's basically General Draven from Rogue One versus Tarkin, and Tarkin looks more imposing. And then
and then there's the whole, you know what, I'm going to blow up a planet just
of
as a
innocent
demonstration.
people, yeah, and a city before that.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's
A
Tarkin.
city and one of our own installations.
Yeah. The fact that his political opponent happens.
Scarif in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Oh, Scarif. That's right. I was thinking of Jedi, and I was like, wasn't
And
that?
the fact that his political rival happens to be on said installation is just a cherry on top.
That's cute.
Yeah.
He wants to think that he's Tarkin's rival, but Krennic is nowhere near there.
Yeah. Oh man, I have things to say about that when we do our Thrawn episode. That's pretty good. I should write that down.
Speaking of
Thrawn, yeah. Chris, you stole my segue.
Mithra Naruto
Versus Von Reg. Elric Von Reg.
Elric Von Reg.
Yeah, Elric Von Reg. He's the red TIE Interceptor First Order guy from Resistance.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally a lower ranking villain than Thrawn in this show.
Well, no, different show. Resistance and Rebels.
Oh, Resistance. Sorry,
But,
my bad.
But yeah, he's a major, I believe, and Thrawn is a Grand Admiral, so...
Well, but let's go through our list.
Yeah, so personal lethality, Thrawn would thrash this guy.
Yeah.
Thrawn would rip Thrawn would break one of his arms off and then beat him to death with it.
Yeah.
That's what would happen.
I mean, maybe if they were fighting each other ship to ship, that's the only way that Von Reg would have a chance, but...
And Thrawn would
Thrawn would
destroy
still probably
him.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thrawn would absolutely waste him. There's no way. Imposing presence, we have a really cool looking red TIE Interceptor pilot suit, and it looks cool.
And the man for whom the white uniform was created.
Exactly, yeah.
With glowing red eyes.
Yeah.
I mean...
And cheekbones you could cut cheese on.
That's right.
It's Thrawn there. Callousness for life, I would probably give that one to Von Reg, because Thrawn doesn't want to waste resources.
Yeah. That's
he's
probably
like,
him further out.
if sacrificing a life will get the job done, that's the only way to do it, he will absolutely do that without a second thought.
Yeah,
but
we
he's
established
not
last time.
looking-
Yeah, he doesn't waste.
He doesn't.
That's the
look
one
to
thing
do
he
it,
lost to Scarison as well.
And he really does care, I think, about at least his crew and people for whom he is responsible.
Yeah, well, and I mean, in treason isn't a large part of his conflict just that his people are in danger, like they're having troubles, and like, this is a man who cares about.
So
the people
so Thrawn would lose on that one, but he handily wins the other two.
Yeah.
Like just his little like dojo scene in Rebels shows me that he would absolutely like he's taking on multiple assassin droids that have the safety features turned off, like the lethality features like flicked to on, and he's taking on multiple and doing just fine.
Yeah,
like
it's his morning workout.
Yeah. It's his like regular routine. He would absolutely thrash Von Reg. It would be really fun to watch, actually. Just, just the utter beatdown that he would receive. Yeah, Thrawn, it's all you, buddy.
All right.
That'll make Steven happy. That's for you, Steven. Fact check us.
But I mean, Thrawn's next matchup that'll be a doozy.
that'll be fun. Yeah.
But moving on, we'll get to that one in a minute.
All right.
We have Arinda Price versus Armitage Hux.
Yeah, so Price is the governor of Lothal from Rebels.
From Rebels.
With the crappy Indiana Jones movie that was never made, Russian agent haircut. And look, basically.
Yeah.
Versus General Hux, they will bow to the First Order, frothing at the mouth, Nazi villain.
Yeah.
So, imposing presence, it's Hux, man.
Yeah.
Like, that speech alone, dude, you have like 100
Well, and
imposing
Domhnall
presence.
Gleeson, like, he could frighten dogs away with his eyes. Like the man is...
Yeah, he's so
his
expressive
eyes
in
in
his
particular
eyes
are
and
just
his face,
so...
yeah. He does a great job.
But he is a ginger.
Yeah, so he has no soul. That's even worse. Okay.
So
yeah, Domhnall Gleeson's
the imposing
terrifying.
figure for sure goes to him. Personal lethality, Price could take him.
Yeah, I'd give you that.
Because he
has
never
no
went-
particular
Yeah, he's got
record
no
of being
particular
excellent.
thing, and
He basically relies on Phasma for any
We
physical
learn
danger.
in the first Thrawn, the first of the new Thrawn books, that Price literally like worked in a bad part of town on Coruscant, which is saying something because Coruscant is mostly bad part of town.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so she literally went to like one of the best dojos in Coruscant and learned how to hand-to-hand combat stuff.
In mass destructiveness, though,
He's
Hux did destroy a system.
a whole
So there's
system.
that.
So there's
And that's what that one's pretty like. Snoke is the supreme leader
But
and all
Hux
that, but
is
it's
the one
still
really
Hux is the one. You can
itching
see
to
that
push the
Hux would have
button.
done this
Yeah.
without Snoke.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah, he didn't need extra motivation or
Yeah. so
Gosh, that
like
scene
he's
is
not as
so good.
personally destruction, but in a way that kind of makes him worse. Like he's a little sniveling when it's like,
He doesn't wanna get
he
his
wouldn't be
hands
much
dirty,
personally, but
he's
awful.
so kind of tied on that first one.
Sure,
then
yeah. And then
and then imposing figure is
and then
Hux.
disregard for life.
Disregard for life. They're okay.
Hux wiped out an entire system
Well-
and then turned around and went, I'm going to gleefully wipe out my political enemies.
Here's what I'm thinking. I think they both are fairly equal in disregard for life. It's just that when Hux is disregarding life, the consequences are worse because he's got more influence.
More mass destructive
Yeah.
and
Well,
more influence.
Like
Sure.
Price
when-
in that position would have done the same thing because she literally is like, I don't care that we have troops nearby at the end of Rebels, blow that fuel. It doesn't matter what the cost is to us in life or resources or whatever, just do it. They're there, blow it away. And she's torturing people all the time. She personally beats the crap out of like Hera and stuff trying to get information. So it's just that her repercussions of not caring about life are less because she's only a governor of a single planet instead of the entire First
and
Order.
not someone who is nepotism into ruling the First Order.
If I can offer a counterpoint, though,
Sure.
I think had Arinda Price been at the button on Starkiller Base, I bet she would have only taken out Hosnian Prime and not the other 4 planets with it.
I disagree. I think once pushed to that point where she's like, we are going to push this button, I think it would have been the whole fuel depot thing. I don't really care.
Well, but see,
We're to
that's
the
the
point
thing.
where I'm so frustrated that it's just,
Well, but
nuke
that's
it.
the thing is this wasn't a frustration thing for Hux.
Yeah, that's
This
true.
was I want to murder every single person who has ever stood across from me. This is a man who wants Holocaust.
I'm fine with it being Hux. I just wanted to give the best argument I could for
fair.
Price, because I think it was clear it was going to be Hux, but I was like, Price deserves her.
And I think the difference is her blowing up the fuel depot, I think, is equivalent to Hux blowing up just Hosnian Prime, rather than, again, the other 4 planets nearby. I don't see, in my mind, I see Price not seeing those as relevant, because there weren't seats of power on those other planets as far as we know.
Although I will say that I don't think Hux is necessarily, like, the one thing that gives her over Hux is that it's her own people whose lives she's throwing away. We don't really have any indication that Hux throws his own people's lives away. And we actually have a couple through the movies that show that he's probably a halfway decent commander to his troops. Like, he does take at least halfway decent care of them, so far as you can take care of people that you have raised abusively into a horrible system. But, like, he doesn't seem to be particularly wasteful of his own people.
Yeah.
And so I will grant her that over him. But I still think, Hux squeaks it.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
You did your best, Price. You did your best.
We have Agent Tierney versus Orson Krennic.
Mm-hmm.
She would similarly thrash Krennic the way Thrawn would thrash Von Rhaeg.
Salacious Crumb would thrash Krennic.
Krennic would in very short order end up in the corner of the room in the fetal position, covering his head.
Krennic and Hux are probably roughly on par with each other when it comes to
Tierney is like
lethality.
wrenching his arm behind his back, like breaking his fingers one at a time or something like that. So, and then, but then the mass destruction, he's pretty eager to destroy the entire planet of Jeddah and only gets reined in by Tarkin.
That's true. Of course, Jeddah's part of the reason Jeddah might have been a decent example is because it's basically only got one city's population on it. Kind of like Canto Bight.
Yeah, and he's willing to, he's happy to use the Death Star as frequently as possible. He just doesn't get much chance. He definitely is willing to throw lives at the problem. The first sign of panic or things not going according to plan. I mean, when the rebels show up and he's like, "What are you, blind? Deploy the garrison. Throw men at the problem." I know that's what he should do, and he does, but it's very much like okay, can we smother this problem with lives and hope that it goes away?
Well, because he even sends out his own personal guard.
Yeah, rather than calling for
things.
help that might be able to neutralize the problem in a different way.
Well, he doesn't want to be seen looking weak.
Yeah, so he is a little bit callous. Other people's lives are definitely a resource Krennic is.
He is definitely placing his own well-being over the lives of the people he's sending out there. Yes, sure. Absolutely, and not calling for reinforcements particularly.
So yeah, that's kind of the but then Tierney does seem to care. She seems like a true believer in the First Order.
Yeah.
That no, this really is the more just system. If people would just get in line, then the First Order could keep everybody safe and happy.
Yep.
I mean, that's literally the pitch she makes to Tam. So I'd say Krennic probably wins the disregard for life.
Yeah,
she thrashes him in personal combat, but he is able to spread more death and destruction than she is. So that's kind of a tie.
But more out of self-servingness than out of
yeah. So
and then
imposing figure.
I think she's got. Well, I mean, he does.
He looks so.
I will acknowledge he cuts a good
cape.
Figure in that cape.
But she looks really cool in her
does.
ISB outfit. Well, I don't know. It's not ISB. It's the First Order's ISB.
Yes.
Imperial Security Bureau for the First Order, whatever they renamed it. Because she's got like that cool like chest plate, like black armor kind of a thing, and then she's got like this cool off gray suit and everything. Plus, her hair looks cool. Like I'm glad that it's like a female villain. You don't see that too often,
Nice.
So, I mean, we do in this list a little bit.
I feel like if I was going to run into one of them, I would be more imposed by Tierney than.
Well, I think it depends on the setting. If I'm like, it's the streets of Lothal at night, and Tierney pops out versus Krennic pops out, I'd be way more afraid of Tierney.
Yeah.
But if I'm on the bridge of my Star Destroyer and Tierney walks into the room, or Krennic walks into the room, I'm much more worried about my own life if Krennic walks in than if Tierney walks in. You know what I mean?
But I'm picturing the field from the beginning of Rogue One. Like if it's Tierney coming out, flanked by all those troopers, I'd be more afraid of Tierney. I think
that's true. I will give you that. Yeah, if it's the opening of Rogue One, Krennic leading Death Troopers, Tierney leading Death Troopers, I'd be way more afraid that bad stuff was about to go down with Tyranny.
Yeah. I mean, I'll acknowledge that Krennic is close here, but I do think Tyranny squeaks ahead.
So it's Tyranny. Wow. I did not expect that, honestly. Like, I'm super happy that this character has only been in like 3 episodes is going this far. That's fantastic.
It's Krennic. I mean,
well, I like Krennic though. I mean, he's one of my favorite villains, and granted, he's not super effective. And the third Thrawn book, I've got some things to say about that. It's pretty funny, but
he's an incompetent middle manager, and it's hard to be scared of an
cool.
incompetent middle manager.
They
can be good villains. They can be, and he's well written, but it's just.
But he's an incompetent manager.
The threat of him is his incompetence, is that he's not good at his job and he's trying to cover that up constantly, and that's what makes him do horrible things. But it's not as villainous or as scary as what you get from a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my goodness! So there's the officer bracket conference done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Next we move on to our bounty hunters, and this first matchup.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this.
Father against son.
Yeah.
The Fetts, Boba and Jango Fett.
All right.
Oh,
I'm gonna just sit back and let you guys.
Okay, so personal imposingness.
It's OG versus slightly chunkier Jango. Like, Boba Fett's a little more trim than Jango is, and I think that is a little bit more imposing. And, like, his scuffed up armor versus the shiny armor, the scuffed up stuff says, to me anyway, like, this is somebody who can get in a fight and come out.
Or the scuffed up stuff says to me that this is a person who isn't as able to take care of themselves. Like,
Boba has... I know he has at least the Wookiee Braid trophy. Doesn't he have a couple other trophies that he carries on him?
Well, I don't know. Grab the bobblehead.
Right there.
The Boba head.
Fact check us, Steven. Alright, so we got a Wookiee Braid. Nope. Nope.
Oh, what about the cape? Isn't the cape something? He has a little,
really
arm
cool.
cape.
Just a cape.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I feel like you could make an argument either way. Like, yeah, his is more scuffed up and battle worn, but Jango's is sleeker, and I feel like I like Jango's color scheme better. I find it more imposing.
Oh, see, I like Boba's color scheme better, but then again, green is
and
my
then
favorite
so
color.
I haven't seen adult Boba with his mask off in anything, even in the...
Okay, story time, guys. So, adult Boba is never shown with his mask off.
I didn't think so
canon.
in anything.
However, there are behind the scenes photos of the actor without his helmet. It is the most Ned Flanders unimposing thing ever. He's got like this giant BYU petastache, glasses, like he's this old fuddy-duddy. It is so fun. It goes from
hilarious.
total like bad A getting all the ladies to like some nerdy loser like, hi ladies, you know, and they're just like, oh hey, like,
turns out it was just some nerd in cosplay the whole time.
It's so funny. It's so funny
hilarious.
to think of like that really cool nod that he gives, you know, like after Leia, like, you know, and he's kind of like, goes from total bat to be like, okay, now picture that face. Oh, you're so weird. So best not to think about adult Boba without a helmet.
Yeah. So, well, and I feel like this is one of the situations where the screen Boba just never quite lives up to what he's supposed to be, and I feel like that makes me lean towards Jango for the win. Also, Tooele Morrison with all those scars on his face. I've said before that I love how he looks there.
See, but in canon we have to
even if they're tied, because they're essentially identical. Like, they're literally the same person. One's just a clone of the other, and he's got the same armor, just more scuffed up in a different color scheme.
Okay, you ready, Chris? I'm going to show Chris this picture of.
We'll share it on
actor
Facebook in a bit.
It's oh, there we go.
Oh, that's delightful. That is delightful.
It's so bad. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So yeah, it goes from total bad A getting hit on by the ladies to like some loser in a club like trying to hit on all the ladies, and they're just like, please go away, stop. You know. Oh, it's funny.
So personal lethality, I feel like Jango we watched take on Obi-Wan and basically win. And Boba we saw get bumped by Han Solo and die.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue for Boba, even though I know what his legend is and what he's supposed to be. I mean, at least Jango had the decency to get beheaded with a lightsaber. A true bam.
Fine, I'll give it to you.
I think, Jango
now,
moves on.
I will, briefly though, give mention to the fact that Boba Fett single-handedly destroyed an entire Republic cruiser as a child. That's pretty bad, eh? I just watched those episodes in case you listeners can't tell that. But I will give that to him. But then I ask, could Jango have done that? Yeah, I feel like Jango could have gotten in there and done that too. So yeah,
there we go.
Jango, father beats son.
Father beats son. Next, we
What
have
an abusive relationship. The father beats the son. Come on, Ross.
Next we have
It was a banner year in the fetch one. Quote from Breakfast Club. It's the banner year in the something household. Fetch, what's the kid's last name? Oh well, never mind. I butchered it. Moving
next we have Captain Shiny Phasma versus
That is her first name, actually.
versus Cad Bane.
Cad Bane.
Yeah,
would
like
destroy her without question.
it's a similar problem with Boba, where it's like I love Phasma, I love Gwendolyn Christie so much, and honestly, more than Phasma, anything to do with Phasma, anything else, I just want Gwendolyn Christie to stick around.
Yeah,
but
Cad Bane would get the drop on her so fast. He is dang fast with those double blasters of his,
which will bounce off of her armor.
But
But I feel like he's gonna find the chink in that anyway.
Yeah, he's so clever, and if he has even 5 minutes to prepare, it's even more over for her.
Yeah, Phasma's,
He's great.
Yeah.
He goes toe to toe with Kenobi in melee combat and is fine.
Yep. But Phasma's
Multiple
really
times.
shiny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no way Cad Bane would.
I'm not gonna lie. Partly, I just want Phasma to win, just so that the next matchup's easier to debate.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fat
But okay,
Oh,
Cad Bane
yeah.
it is. Yeah, like we don't even need to do every category. It's pretty clear. Like I would argue that Phasma probably has him on disregard for life. Like this is a person who routinely
Yeah,
slaughters
that's
her
true.
own people, leads groups of people to their deaths just to suit her own needs. Very self-centered needs. Like it's literally so that I can murder one more person. Where Cad Bane definitely doesn't have high regard for life, but he doesn't seem particularly wasteful of it necessarily.
He seems more annoyed if he has to kill more people than necessary.
Yeah.
It seems
But
like.
as far as destructiveness and cutting an imposing figure, I would definitely give it to him.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that depends on
dude.
what you find
Especially
more
in those
imposing.
shots
I
where
I like her imposing figure, definitely.
She does
Like,
cut
she
an
is
imposing
intense.
figure, but think about the Clone Wars. Like every shot where Cad Bane, like it's looking at his hat and then he tips it up and you see those eyes, like in the mouth.
He has
get
the
revealed.
Thrawn coloring that
He's
he
so
plays to
cool,
his
man.
advantage.
Yep. All right, Cad Bane moves on. Next, we have. This will be fun. We have Bosk, Lizard Man Bosk, versus
DJ.
Mr. Don't Join Himself, DJ.
So
Ah.
Bosk has personal lethality down for sure,
Yeah.
and I think probably more widespread destruction. DJ doesn't seem
Yeah,
particularly
DJ's not.
eager
Yeah,
to
we
spread
went into this. It
destruction.
was a surprise when he beat Dengar last time,
Yeah.
and that was mainly because Dengar didn't have enough.
imposing
screen time.
figure. DJ looks cooler, but Bosk is more imposing for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely.
Bosk has the exact same amount of screen time as Dengar does.
no,
no,
because
no,
we
no.
see
That's
see
right.
more of Bosk in
Yeah.
Clone Wars and stuff. Yeah.
And then
movies.
disregard for life, Bosk all the way. He literally hunts other people for fun.
Yeah,
Like other sentient
it was
creatures.
close with Dengar, but with Bosk, there's just too many things that tip him over. Like,
Okay.
sorry, DJ, I love you much as we wanted you in the finals. Also, I wanted to give this for Captain Phasma's imposingness. Gwendolyn Christie, do you know how tall she is?
She's super tall. She's like 6'3" or
She's
something
6'3".
like that.
Yeah, she's taller than me. Like,
Yeah. Yep,
that's
she's pretty
intense.
cool.
It's a tall drink of water.
Indeed.
There it is.
All right. Next, we have Black Chrysanthemum versus Aura Singh.
Ooh.
Well,
This is
if we had been arguing this before I watched those episodes of Clone Wars, I probably would have just been like, "Oh, obviously it's Black Chrysanthemum," but not
Yeah.
anymore.
They're both personally lethal in different ways. Like, if he can get a hold of Aura Singh, she's toast. He would literally rip her limb from limb.
yeah.
But he's got to beat her sniper rifle, which
Yeah.
is unlikely.
It's intense. And then as far as general lethality goes, they both
And she's
cause a lot
quite
of
agile,
destruction.
too.
She's also the
Yeah.
one telling Boba all this. She's the one who tells Boba, just go blow up the ship.
Oh, yeah. Disregard for life, I think, is Aura. Like, if
Black
by just a
Chrysanthemum
nose.
straight up enjoys slaughter.
He
so-
does, but Aura is trying to stamp out the consciences of other people around her.
Yeah, that's true. That's the
Like,
corruptor.
She
attitude
is like, no, you have a conscience, you
I
want
will
to do the
grant you
right thing,
that.
stop it. You know, that's I don't know. I for that alone, I'd have to give that to her, although it is close.
Yeah.
Imposing figure, I think Black Chrysanthemum wins that. I mean, a big giant black Wookiee.
Yeah,
that's
hard to.
That's pretty scary.
Hard to out-impose a Wookiee.
Yeah, and so then it's personal lethality / spreading destruction, which I guess the Corruptor is a point in favor of Aura Singh.
Yeah.
Do an evil deed, make the world evil for a day. Teach a young boy to do evil.
That's right.
So, but because personal lethality, I think they're tied, right? She's got at range, you just aren't going to touch her.
Yeah.
But heaven help you if Black Chrysanthemum gets in range, in melee range.
That's true.
So that's kind of even. So then it's the spreading destruction and chaos, and I think she wins just by virtue of making everyone around her a worse person.
Yeah. Well, and also it's, with the whole thing with Boba, it's like she has no personal stake in that at all.
Yeah.
It's literally just
let's make Boba evil for evil's sake.
Yeah, and also just that it's like hey, he wants revenge, but she is so gung ho about it for no reason. And it's almost just like, well, I get to cause destruction. I've got an excuse, so here we go. And
so it's Aura Singh.
Yeah, it's like
it's by
close.
A little bit.
Yeah, but I would give it to her. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very good. Okay, now we are entering our miscellaneous
conference.
Our assorted scum and villainy.
Mm-hmm.
To start us off, we have the dynamic duo of 000 and BT666, BT Satan, versus Puggle the Lesser.
Yay!
Well, Puggle's adorable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He would lose.
But seriously, though, I think
something tells me Puggle the Lesser has high regard for the life of others around him.
Maybe.
Two of us in particular.
Just two. Yeah. Well, that's still,
the rest of us he wants to tear out our throats.
Right.
Okay, so imposing figure, it's the droids.
Yeah, Puggle's
personal
not really...
lethality, it's the droids. Ability to spread destruction is the only one where they may tie. Like Poggle's in constructing the Death Star and wasting, throwing away, tens of thousands of Geonosians,
which is how he got to where he's at.
And the droids would love to aspire, they aspire to that level. They just aren't there yet. But anything in their immediate vicinity is going to die a very painful death.
Yeah, having now read some of these comics, I definitely would say it's the droids. So
okay,
I'm just gonna write droids.
Nice and simple
on mine.
Next, we have Pre Vizsla versus Jabba the Hutt.
Well, that's some different. That's a different matchup.
There it is. Oh yeah. So personal lethality, Pre Vizsla.
Sure. Yeah.
Widespread destruction, maybe even. I mean, the Hutts aren't great, and they own
Pre
a
Vizsla
lot,
is actively working to
Watch.
turn his peaceful society into a warrior society again.
I mean, and Death Watch isn't great. It's literally a domestic terror group.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get further than Mandalore, but his plans are, of course, to make a criminal empire like Maul ends up making.
Yeah.
So he certainly wants to.
The reason why he doesn't get off Mandalore is because he's one wave up against all the other waves on Mandalore crashing against each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
but Jabba, they own a decent section of space and make the general lives of people there worse.
Well,
although not every life.
I would argue that in some ways he brings a comparative level of stability to the Outer Rim.
True.
And that's kind of works against him as the villain.
Okay.
He is a villain, straight up, of course, but he's also a villain that Vader works with, that he's just like, all right, if we're going to have order in the Outer Rim, we'll work with what's there to start out, and Jabba's where he starts with that.
Yeah.
He works with the
Yeah,
Republic
they do that
in Clone Wars.
Clone Wars. Yep.
Well, and that's the story behind Black Spire as well. The Resistance and everyone, they have a crime family running that outpost.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? You're bringing an order to it. You guys do your thing because you actually are
better than nothing here. So I feel like that kind of points to Pre Vizsla being the worst as far as destructiveness goes.
I'm fine with that. Imposing figure definitely goes to Pre Vizsla.
Oh, I don't know. Jabba's pretty.
He's physically, yeah.
So if he were to walk, if Jabba
slide.
were to float into a room and Pre Vizsla were to walk into a room, I'd be more afraid of Pre-Vizsla.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Jabba on the other side
Dude,
of the room
especially
is
in
fine.
that Death Watch armor with the dark saber and stuff.
That's fair.
That's
All
a little
right.
bit more like immediately scary
Yes.
than Jabba.
Yeah. Like, and again, if those doors are on the other end of the room, Jabba, he can stay over there. Nothing's going to happen from him.
Disregard for life. Pre Vizsla, I think, wins that one too. Jabba is willing to throw away stuff, but Pre Vizsla is literally helping to poison children on his own planet to further his ends.
Yeah, that's fair. I like it. Makes me cringe to give it to someone other than one of the legacy characters. But yeah. I mean, it's basically this idea. It's like trying to think of this show that I'm thinking, or the book or the movie. I don't remember, where you've got the mob boss who gets displaced by the younger son, who's more violent and gets overthrown because he's too violent. Like, he upsets the order too much, and that's basically what the difference between these two is. It's like Jabba works with the order. Like, he has managed to stay in control for as long as he has, specifically by reining in any of those worst tendencies, which doesn't make him good, far from it. But I'd say that Pre Vizsla's inability to do that, or unwillingness to do that, does make him worse.
Yep.
All
right. Pre Vizsla moves on. Next, we have Tobias Beckett versus Mirage Sintel.
Yeah.
I would like to see that, actually. That
I would
matchup.
too. That'd be a lot of sexy in one room, though.
All right. I would like to see Woody Harrelson just sitting there like, oh, you thought you were flirting with Anakin? Come here.
Yeah. That's exactly how that would go. He would charm the socks off her. So,
without ever seeming like he was charming her.
Yeah. So Beckett is definitely a fast gun.
Yeah.
Mirage Sintel has her cool, like, electro whip.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. But I think he would win in a duel between the two of them. Ability to cause suffering, though, is Mirage Sintel all the way by
slavery.
orders of magnitude. You run a slave empire. That's
I feel like the big difference
black
between
mark.
them is Beckett is not necessarily a man who would run a slave empire, but he's definitely a man who looks the other way at slave empires and works with those people.
And she
but
runs
whereas
it.
she's straight up running it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not great. Imposing figure. Neither of them are like super imposing in the way that other villains have been.
Yeah.
She's kind of a regal threat, kind of like Tarkin almost, where it's kind of like, okay, you're not like, you don't look scary or something, but there's an air of danger about you that I need to kind of be on my toes, or else something bad might happen.
Yeah. He dresses kind of like Cad Bane, but in a way that doesn't seem imposing, just more like matter of fact. Like, this is utilitarian, like it works well.
Yeah. And again, I think it depends on the setting. Like, again, walking down a dark street, and Beckett pops out, I'm instantly thinking, oh, I'm going to be shot. She pops out, I
feel like Beckett could pop out. It depends on how he pops out. Like, I could see him walking out and just being like, oh, hey, this guy's home, same as me. On his way home, same as me.
Depends on if you're showing any money or value.
Yeah, it depends on
but
his
then,
behavior.
if you're in Mirage's throne room and she walks in, it's kind of like, okay, so...
I feel like she's probably going to be the more imposing. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got a pretty impressive height on her. She's got the claws and the cat eyes and all of that.
Yeah.
It's a little more intense than Beckett.
And that sweet accent.
It's true.
It's so cool.
That sweet... I don't even know what that
I don't know
accent is.
either.
It's like pseudo-Russian, Middle
Something,
East weird.
yeah.
It's weird.
Cool. And then disregard for life. Woman runs a slave empire.
Yep, that's hard
Enough
to beat.
said.
Mirage Sintel.
It's quite the sweep.
Yeah.
Next, we have Admiral Trench versus Moralo Ibal.
Trench.
You think?
Yeah.
Trench
Physically
is
more imposing.
physically imposing for sure, because Moralo Ival's almost like a hunchback. He's always like super
well,
stooped over.
and I'll grant
stuff.
that Trench has that whole honor thing that he's pretty honorable when it comes to combat and everything.
Personal lethality. If it's a death match between these two, Trench is literally going to suck the life and blood out of Moralo Ival.
Yes.
Spreading destruction. Trench is, I think, got that.
He's
as
very
well.
destructive. That's not necessarily his. Well, but he does enjoy it. He definitely enjoys warfare. Yeah. I
mean, he does give like Republic chance to surrender, but when they refuse, it's kind of like,
sweet.
Good.
I'm glad.
That's the
Let me
option
wipe
I
the floor
hoped.
with you,
Yeah, exactly. Disregard for life, though. I think Moralo Ival, he is, I think, even more
Yeah, I'll grant that.
more. He takes
Trench
really
definitely
sadistic.
does not exude disregard for life.
Yeah, he's more sadistic about it. Morale Uval is,
But that
about
still
life.
gives 2 to Trench.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
There we go.
I did not expect Trench to make it this far. Honestly,
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's got a good bracket.
he does.
So
Which is
that
why we did it
finishes
this way. Get
our-
some new people.
our table of 16.
Woo! The
We are
Sweet
now
16.
Down to competing for the last.
The
great
Evil 8.
Oh, the Evil 8. I love it. I love it. That's so good. That's what we're calling it.
So back up to our Jedi/Force user bracket. We
Oh,
have
boy.
Darth Vader.
Wait, there's 8 matchups, I see. Okay, good.
Yeah, Darth Vader.
We did this last time, isn't it? Final 4 once you have 4 combatants left, so that means this is the 16.
This
We got 16 combatants left.
Yes, we're moving into the table of 8.
We're going
fighting
into
for the 8 spots.
Oh, hey, you're right. Huh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're in
everybody.
the Sweet 16 looking for the Evil 8.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So Darth
You can
Vader.
tell we sport a lot.
Yes, we're so sport.
Sports. We have Vader
Yes.
versus Darth
Darth
Maul.
Maul, Battle of the Apprentices.
It is. So Darth Maul looks like the devil and was modeled after him, as far as cultural imagery goes. Versus Vader.
Who's
Let
Vader?
me define what a cinema villain looks like.
Yes, it's hard to
It's
hard to
so
get past
good.
that.
And the breathing with Vader, I mean, that's a huge part of the imposition, is that he's, especially like
And
when
the
you've just
James
seen it
Earl
for the
Jones
first time.
voice.
Yeah, that's
Like Ray Park, I love, but his voice isn't like the voice isn't anything. In
It's not Ray
particular.
Park.
Well, that's true. He didn't do
Park
the
never voiced
voices.
it.
That's right.
In fact,
He
it
got
was
shafted.
you know the guy, the British prince on Parks and Rec that loves Andy?
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Are you
weird.
serious?
Yeah, because it's only 2 lines for
Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
At last we'll have our revenge. or
Last we were
Because then they moved to Sam Whitworth or
Whitworth.
something. Whitworth, yeah.
Whitwer.
For Clone Wars, who was also Starkiller in
Yeah.
Force
Oh, yeah.
Unleashed. So
Yeah, I
He
mean,
kind of looks like him too, actually. Now that you mention it.
Maul
They
has
have
the
no
double-bladed
Yeah.
lightsaber and everything, but I feel like Vader is more imposing with his one lightsaber than Maul is with his 2, especially
is.
after Rogue One's hallway scene.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the Vader Maul showdown would go a little bit more like the Sidious Maul showdown.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, that's cool that you've got all this. Now let me show you what a master of the Sith
Yeah.
can do.
I mean, and I think I can sum up this entire category in this way that Palpatine essentially traded up to Vader. Like,
Yeah.
Vader was his goal, so...
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Maul, like, Vader's more widespread more widespread destruction and lethality,
Yeah.
and the disregard for life.
I could see that one as even.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, either way, Vader's got him beat
Yeah.
on the other stuff.
There is the whole turned good in the end, but I don't know. I put Maul's death up, and I'm like, that's not a particularly imposing death either, though. It's a little sad, like, I've been lost all this time death, and so...
Yeah.
yeah. So Vader
When
moves
you
on.
see a dead puppy on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Oh, Ross, I didn't mean anything about your puppy.
I was wondering if it was a reference. That
No.
was the thing, is I couldn't figure it out. So
No, I want Will Wolf Barkin to live forever.
oh, good. Next we have Kylo Ren versus Emperor Sidious Palpatine.
Palpatine.
Sheev.
Yeah, Palpatine's going to electrocute him. and be
Yeah, it's...
Like,
I
oh,
mean,
this is your goal? Let me show
I
you.
love Kylo Ren, but it's hard to make a case for him against Palpatine.
When he already was a sneaky match for discount
Ventress,
Palpatine.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like the Snoke.
Oh, yeah,
interaction.
yeah.
Snoke wants to be Palpatine, and Kylo still has a hard time with him, barely pulls it out, sort of thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
It's... I mean, I don't want to just fall back on this, but it's Palpatine. I mean, it's...
The dude is...
Everything we've already said. Like, well, it's... I'm going to put it this way. We squeaked out, like, Kylo Ren just moved on past Ventress. Like, that was a match for him. Ventress versus Palpatine, I wouldn't hesitate. It's clearly Palpatine. And so if Kylo Ren is just barely beating Ventress...
The only thing that Ventress would beat Palpatine on is looks. I think she looks cooler than...
Yes, I will grant,
You know,
like...
But,
I mean, Palpatine doesn't look bad. Like, he's...
yeah. But he's
got
a
an
man in
ominous
a
figure
robe
and
versus,
everything.
like, this really cool... like ninja with lightsaber kind of look. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the only thing that she would take Palpatine on. And in that sense, it's like Kylo, I think, maybe could win that category also. Like, his costume looks kind of cooler. But there is something to be said, though, for just the, I'm an old man in a robe, And this guy, pointing to Vader, listens to me.
Yeah, well, and
You know.
it's the creepy old witch
Yeah.
man. Like he's
Yeah.
just in a dark hood.
But there's no match in a fight for like force powers.
Yeah.
Like Palpatine would electrocute the ever-loving crap out of Kylo.
Well, in widespread destructiveness, it's like they both have caused a lot of death and destruction, but Palpatine did it gleefully.
Yeah.
Where Kylo Ren
Seems to have some
kind of
amount of regret.
blundering around angrily
Yeah.
and not even sure what he's doing. So,
Jeez.
Palps.
Moves on. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Dang.
Next.
Ross had already written it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there wasn't. Anything
Ross has
really-
already filled out his entire bracket. What are you doing?
This bracket is rigged.
No, and you guys weren't talking about anything really in favor of Kylo.
No, that's
with this,
true.
so
Yeah.
That wasn't a hard.
It's hard
choice.
to. I mean, that's.
I love Kylo Ren as a dynamic character.
Yeah.
As a imposing villain,
Less so.
it's hard to beat Palpatine at all.
Yeah.
Like he's a strong contender for this entire thing. So
Which is why we did the bracket this way.
yes,
So that it isn't just, oh, Vader and Palpatine again. Here we go.
yes, we'll get that matchup a little bit sooner.
Yes, we will. Next, we move on to our officers bracket, starting off with Grand Moff Tarkin versus Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah. Looking forward to this.
Ah,
So two of the most
should I get a coin and flip it?
calculating. So these two people are both super calculating, just in different ways. Thrawn, it is made clear in the books, is not much of a politician.
Well,
but
I'm
he's
going to
a
real
much
quick
better
go for the one I
tactician.
think is obvious.
Okay.
Thrawn's disregard for life is trumped by Tarkin's.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that's
yeah,
easy.
Tarkin has
destroyed
very
Alderaan.
little regard for life. Tarkin, yeah, definitely wins the disregard for life. That's for sure. Imposing. It's Peter Cushing versus a pretty cool looking, the man for whom the white uniform
Yes.
was created.
Yeah.
Right? Cheekbones pretty even. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of like something
Crazy
to
glowing
set-
eyes in the dark, man. That's,
Yeah, that I think is
The Chiss are hard to beat for imposingness at all. Just
Yeah.
any of them. Grab one. They could be fat and
Yeah.
corpulent and
Okay, so
rolling
I'll
on the
give you
ground.
that.
But I mean, Tarkin almost makes up for it with just his evil silver fox.
Almost.
Yeah. Ooh, so that leaves us with the personal lethality slash widespread destruction category. Personal lethality, if these two get in a fight, Thrawn again is going to break
Thrawn.
every brittle bone in that old man's body.
Yeah. Even with Tarkin's background,
He's just...
Thrawn's got that.
Yeah, Thrawn would... Well, and it says, too, in the book that, like, Chiss have, like,
Mixed
faster
with the-
reflexes than humans, so there's just not a way that that's going to happen.
It'd probably be a good fight, but it would be Thrawn.
It would be a good fight as long as Thrawn allowed it. Thrawn, I think, would thrash him immediately if it was like, you must kill him and you must do it as soon as possible. I don't think it would last very long. But widespread destruction.
Given the same military resources, I would say Thrawn would also thrash Tarkin.
But would he... Oh, like against each other? It's like
Yeah,
if you
just
both
like-
have a Star Destroyer or a fleet of Star Destroyers now fight
Yeah.
each other? Oh,
I don't think it would
yeah,
be quite
Thrawn
as
would-
thrashy, but I think he would
yeah,
come out
Thrawn
on
would
top.
win still. But ability to spread destruction. Tarkin annihilates 3 billion people on Alderaan
Yeah.
without even a second thought.
But that's
or
by virtue of
hesitation.
he has the Death Star. The Death Star was not his
But
project
even
that
if
he
Thrawn,
created.
even if Thrawn were in
Even if
charge
Thrawn
of
had
the
it,
Death
he wouldn't
Star,
have done
he
that,
would
yeah.
not have.
But that's more the
Alderaan.
regard for life, like the
Yeah.
capability of causing
Oh,
destruction.
that's true.
But I would still say
But
that
it's
that's
hemmed
the
in
Thrawn
by
trips.
his unwillingness to do it unless it's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I think Thrawn with the Death Star would not use it like Tarkin
That's
would.
true.
So.
He would use it as Tarkin, I think, more intended, which is, here's a big stick.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
what we want, and he would find some other way to subvert them and get them to believe in the fear. Where Tarkin is just like, hey, here's a short route between A and B.
Let's just do this.
Press that button. There we go. Alderaan's gone.
Yeah. Do we need a tiebreaker here?
I think Thrawn.
You do think it comes
Well,
out Thrawn?
Or, sorry, I think Tarkin... Oh, but... So we're tied on the first one then, because Thrawn, in any situation where it's Thrawn versus Tarkin, Thrawn's going to win, but the widespread destruction, Tarkin wins, so we're tied on the first
Yeah.
one. So it's...
Thrawn has the imposingness,
But
and
loses
Tarkin has the disregard for
so
life.
we do need a tiebreaker.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
shoot.
Which of these two would look at their phone while talking to someone in the same room?
Oh, that would be Tarkin for sure.
Yeah.
Thrawn would have way too much respect.
Yeah. Tarkin it is. Wow. Sorry, Mithra Naruto.
I'll admit, I was kind of going for Thrawn on that one.
Well, I mean, I want Thrawn
Me
to go
too,
ahead, but it just doesn't make sense based on the parameters we have.
Yeah.
Steven, of course, is going to be upset.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Next, we have Armitage Hux versus Agent Tierney.
I kind of feel like our stuff with Price and with Krennic and I feel like Hux is the clearer choice here by virtue of just his abandon.
Because I think Tierney is more imposing in her figure.
I don't know.
Disregard for life, I think Hux wins that one. Personal lethality, Tierney's gonna
widespread destructiveness is Hux, but I feel like the ratio by which Hux wins his categories
is
he's
significantly less.
Especially because the imposingness, I feel like maybe she's slightly ahead, but Hux isn't far behind. And then on the others, Hux is well ahead on where he's ahead. So I do feel like it's...
All right. She got way farther than I thought, so I'm happy.
I'm fine going with the tiebreaker. I feel like maybe they're with...
No, I feel like it's pretty clearly Hux. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't feel a need for a tiebreaker just because he's so bad where he is bad compared to her.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Hux moves on. Cool. We are back up to our Bounty Hunters bracket.
Ooh.
Okay. Another big one.
Here we go. The question for the ages.
Jango Fett versus Cad Bane.
Who's the better bounty hunter?
Who's the better bad guy?
Yeah. Oh, well, the question that the show wanted to answer and ran out of time to do it.
Well, this isn't necessarily that question is the thing. That question is which of them is the better bounty hunter, the more dangerous or whatever. This is who is the better villain.
But Dave Filoni said that they had planned for the Clone Wars to have a Western-style shootout between the two of them to determine who's the better one. So there was planned a one-on-one.
But that's what I'm saying. Is that's still
hunter,
that's the better bounty hunter, the more the deadlier
I'm just
draw
saying
or something.
For personal lethality.
Yeah,
like that.
But I'm saying in general,
never got, and it makes me sad.
We're debating who's the worst villain.
Okay,
and I think it's Cad Bane.
I am inclined to agree, but I kind of want to hear the reasons.
Sure. My reasons are basically thus that we actually get to see more of Cad Bane being villainous. Like we see his planning out and executing things, and we also see his callous disregard for morals. Where Jango in the one movie where we get to see him a bit of his callous disregard or whatever that he might have is kind of undercut by the fact that he seems to be a actually caring, decent father to Boba. He seems more like a dude working a job, whereas Cad Bane is very much, even when he's getting jobs, it's like this, well, you're going to pay me even better for that, aren't you?
Cad Bane looks cooler.
Yeah, I will grant that.
And then personal lethality. Who would win in that fight?
Okay.
Let's do that because I agree it's Cad Bane.
Did they plan this fight out in advance?
Yeah, it's kind of a hey, I heard you've been looking for me kind of a let's go through.
Because if Cad Bane had a moment to plan,
let's role play this out, Chris. So Dave Filoni gets his episode. What does it look like? They show up there at the OK Corral. They march their 10 paces off. The gunfight's about to start. What do we see happening?
I'm seeing shooting back and forth, neither one getting gunned down. Cad Bane has some sort of device planted at the location that either explodes or rises up and starts shooting Jango from another angle. Jango starts flying. They can both fly, so that's not necessarily an advantage. I feel like Jango explodes that with his rocket or something. Cad Bane takes the moment where he's distracted by that to come in close. Jango gets something nasty caught in, takes that the
little arm
blade on
spiky
it,
things.
and he goes for Cad Bane's throat there. Now they're caught up. Maybe that wasn't a good idea for Cad Bane to get in that close, and he shouldn't have done it. I'm not sure. Maybe he wouldn't have because of that. I don't know. I feel like if they did get in that close, Cad Bane might be in trouble, and he might know that and wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I still think Cad Bane could do it.
I think he could.
I think there'd be some cool flying because they both can.
Yeah,
Cad Bane with his boots, Jango with the jetpack. I think Jango is part of the flying around. I think Jango would whipcord.
Yeah.
Cad Bane, but then Cad Bane would shoot his wrist holder for it or something like that, and break away. I think there'd probably be Jango fires the jetpack rocket, Cad Bane dodges it just barely or something. It explodes in a building behind him or something. But then like while he's distracted with that, Django's flying up at him. They get into some mid-air tussle. Because we see a similar fight to that with the death of Zero the Hutt.
Yeah.
With Obi-Wan and Cad Bane. So I think there would be some aerial punching, kicking, getting away, catching up to the other guy. Maybe.
How does that fight go with Obi-Wan?
Cad Bane wins.
I was gonna say, does he lose? Because that'd solve things really easily right here.
Yeah, no, he wins the fight and is able to escape. He basically I can't remember exactly how it happens, but Obi-Wan ends up like hanging off the edge of a cliff, and Cad Bane is kind of like, "Okay, I'm out," and he takes off, and then they have to wait for.
So I'm gonna call that for Cad Bane.
Yeah.
Just by virtue of the fact that Django left Obi-Wan with a cut the line. Okay, quick, let's get out of here. And Cad Bane left with, "Yep, I got you where I want you. I'm gonna leave now." Feel like Cad Bane would have won.
Yeah.
If we're using Obi-Wan as our barometer, I feel like Cad Bane is the more lethal fighter.
There we go.
Oh, that's true, because both of them did fight Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
that's
that's a
literally
good way to do it.
just about
Yep.
the only fight we've actually seen Django do,
Yeah.
aside from a brief tussle with Mace Windu.
Yeah, because he almost loses the fight to Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
where Obi-Wan is trying to keep up with Cad Bane.
Yes. So as far as Obi-Wan's of fight ability, like Django's got like 1.001 and Cad Bane's got like 1.1. So
Yeah.
Dude, and Cad Bane has like the little electric shocker grabby things. So he, like, even if they did get into a hand-to-hand thing, he could just be like, zap, shocking grasp. There
although
it is.
I got to go back to my old yarn of the Emperor did pick Django as the template for his clones and not Cad Bane. But I'm going to go with that was due to the Emperor's racism. So
That's actually probably a legit
Yeah.
explanation. Yeah, that's probably actually what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
So
That'd
Cad
be
Bane.
such a cool fight to see.
yeah, Cad Bane would beat Django Fett both in a fight and as a villain. You heard it here, folks.
Dave Filoni, talk to somebody there at Lucasfilm, convince them and to let you make a movie like, Showdown at the OK Corral, Cad Bane versus Django Fett. Give us that.
A what if Star
That would
Wars
be
with film.
so
Star Wars
cool.
Infinities. Django
It wouldn't even
versus
have to
Cad
be a what
Bane.
if. I mean, it was planned, and they have said like
That's the thing,
even
is
if
Django's
the
dead,
stories, well, but they have said that like even if the stories don't get produced for the public, they are counted as having happened for the internal storytelling and stories that come next. So even though that fight we never saw, that fight
does exist.
Oh no, that's right. Django in lore would have. I see what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm an
Django was
idiot.
dead before they
I'm
had
an
a
idiot.
chance
Yeah,
to really...
you're right. Dang it, never mind. Oh, so that's what... No, that's right. That's what Filoni was going to do, is Cad Bane was training Boba
Uh-huh.
to make him the best bounty hunter he could so that he could then
Have
take
his
on
fight,
Boba
yeah.
and have his fight. Yeah. So...
In true anime fashion.
That's right. All right. Next, we have Bosk versus Aura Singh.
Aura
Aura
Singh.
Singh.
There's no question.
Yeah.
We don't need to hash that
We've
out
seen
again.
them interacting. We know Aura Singh.
Yeah.
He will
He's
step back and let
definitely
Aura
the
Singh do her
beta
thing.
to Aura Singh's strong alpha.
Yes. All right, that was quick.
Yeah. Aura Singh would destroy him.
We are now starting the miscellaneous conference.
Yep.
General Scum and Villainy.
So, first up, we have 000 and BT666 versus Pre Vizsla.
Droids. They are going to destroy him.
Yeah, I'd buy that. Like,
And they are way more imposing. Like, if you've seen the comics with those droids in there, and, like, especially BT's
Well, I mean,
glowing eyes and
yeah,
stuff.
they are, but
Disregard
know.
for life, they've got him beat.
there's the whole thing that BT is explicitly designed to look like just another protocol droid, even if he is black with,
True.
high eyes. But
when he starts, like, opening his fingers and there's, like, poison needles and stuff in there.
that's true. He's a
And the way he talks, like, whoever writes his dialogue is fantastic. He is creepy AF. And then they have less than no regard. They are definitely
That's
the,
true.
like, we're droids, all meatbags should be dead kind of a mentality.
Do they use the word meatbags?
I think they do once.
Awesome. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's them. And in a straight fight, they would... Either one of them could probably take out Pre Vizsla.
yeah. I don't know
Dude,
about 000.
I'm going to give you...
BT could probably. Yeah.
No, 000's the astromech droid.
I thought BT was
maybe it was the
Yeah,
other
no,
way
yeah,
around.
BT's the assassin droid disguised as an astromech.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he would waste almost... Vader is the only person that has ever successfully beaten BT, and he cut him in half.
That's intense.
Okay.
So-
All right, I'll grant that. All right, the droids it is.
Well, we know how that matchup would go then.
Yep. It
Yeah, we
may
won't
be-
get there, but
Yeah. Maybe. Because, actually, I don't know, I think. Yeah. Our last matchup for this section is Mirage Sintel versus Admiral Trench.
it's hard to beat that slavery disregard for your life.
Yeah. Straight
She's
fight,
got- she
Trench
is
is
riding
going
the
to
long
suck
run
her
on that.
dry.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she does run a slave
He
empire.
is more imposing than her.
Yeah, that's true.
And
But spreading destruction...
destruction-wise he is, but
But
as
we
far
have
as
also
pain
included
and
misery
sorrow,
and
yeah.
sorrow, suffering. Slave empire. I mean, every slave is a whole life
Disregard
worth
for
of-
life is definitely hers. That could be a tie.
Ross,
Because he's
give it
definitely
to
more
us.
destructive. but
I would
he's-
say her...
I don't want her to just coast on her.
No, that's true.
Yeah, no. So I'm kind of like, give us a tiebreaker, and
Okay. I'm trying to think of one that's not obviously weighted one way or the other.
yeah, that's fair.
Who would win in a web spinning contest?
Ooh,
Yeah.
turns out Mirage Sintel is actually really great.
Yeah.
Of these two,
Little known fact.
which one is more likely to use the reply all button on a mass email?
Ooh.
Okay, I'm going to go with Mirage, but here's why.
Yeah.
Trench is a military man
Yeah.
of order. He knows you don't hit reply all
Yeah,
unless it's
I agree.
a
That's
necessary
kind of
thing.
what I was thinking.
Mirage Sintel would be like, well, who cares if it inconveniences or annoys other people?
I'm in
I'm
charge
replying.
anyway. Yeah.
But a good military leader will keep everybody informed.
Yeah, but that would be in situations where everybody needs to be informed.
Yeah.
That's not in the reply all exists for a reason. But
Yeah.
she's the one to more likely use reply
Yeah, she would
reply all
callously use it.
wantonly.
She would use reply all the time. It would just be like, whatever. It's
Yeah.
the first button I came across. Cool. There it is. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I'm not. I
Like, it
don't care.
doesn't
I just
matter.
clicked the response button and it default replies to all. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give that to Mirage. She beats Trench.
Oh. Well,
All right.
that's the last time we're going to see her.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So, okay, guys. We are at our finalist of each conference.
Our Evil 8,
Yes.
which are Vader, Palpatine, Tarkin, Hux, Cad Bane, Aura Singh, the droids, 000 and BT-666, and Mirage Sintel.
Yes.
So, this is going to be...
It sure
Fun.
is.
First up,
Oh, boy.
I almost want to go backwards.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're in charge of the order that we
true.
do these, so...
Tell you what, no, let's go with the officers conference first.
Okay.
So we have Tarkin versus Hux.
Ooh. This is tough.
It is, because Hux is more of the mad dog. Like he's more off the leash. He's more like Tarkin is callously wiping out lives because, like, as an example, as a means of coercion against a prisoner, not necessarily out of some desire to see people exterminated. Where
But
Hux
Hux
is
almost
full on
seems-
Nazi. I want to
Yeah, he
wipe the
seems
vermin
almost
out.
compelled to do it. Hux
Yeah.
does.
And that definitely, I would
That's
say, for
pretty
disregard
evil.
for life, Hux probably takes it.
I think so, because Tarkin, obviously, as we've seen, totally willing to throw billions of lives away to prove a point,
Yes.
but there still needed a point to be proven
Yes.
for him to do it.
He was serving an end.
Yeah, where Hux seems just kind of like, well, I want them gone, so we're going to nuke all 5 planets from far orbit.
Yeah. Now Tarkin has that advantage of I nuked one of our own bases and sacrificed our own people, which definitely speaks against him, but I don't feel like quite enough to counter
There's not the
Hux's
same, like,
rabid,
hatred in there. Yeah.
Hatred.
So imposing presence, I want to hear what you think before I give it.
I feel like Tarkin would be the more imposing until one of them goes off the handle, and Hux off the handle, like giving that speech, is more imposing than Tarkin. But I also feel like at that point Tarkin would be able to rein him in, and would be the one going, "No, heel in, boy." And so that's its own
What do you
kind
think,
of
Ross?
imposing.
Well, see, I definitely see what you're saying with Hux and his rabidness when giving a speech. But I also think about when Tarkin is grilling Leia
Mm-hmm.
You prefer let's see.
And he
prefer
steps in,
a different target, a military target. Then
Yeah,
it's like
the system.
I tire of your, blah blah blah. Yeah.
I feel like that warm smolder
So
needs to be
this
mentioned.
this is my thing. I was gonna say Tarkin because for the most part, he's that cool, collected villain who's
Yes.
like, well, I've already outsmarted you, so there's no reason to get angry because I'm already 10 steps ahead of you. So that's fine that you're saying these things. It's fine that you're making fun of my accent, Leia. It's all good because
Charming.
because I'm 10 steps ahead of you, so it's fine. But then when he does start to lose his temper, and when he's like, "Do you want another target, a military target?" It's like
He does.
there's
get
a little,
intense
there's
there.
an edge there that's
And
kind of
Leia-
like, whoa,
Leia
it's
steps back.
yeah, and it's almost like the way I picture it is almost like the sword being unsheathed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the sword's been there the whole time, but now he's pulling it out, and you're kind of like, whoa, like there's a sharp steel underneath that cool.
See, and I'm
composure.
going mainly, and this is really just speculation on my part, but I feel like if I had the two of them in the same room, Tarkin would naturally end up in command. Like even if they were
For
of
sure,
equal
he
range,
absolutely
Tarkin would take control and he would heal in Hux, which Hux is still frightening, but I feel like that makes Tarkin more
Tarkin's the man
imposing.
who can tell Vader, quit choking that guy, back
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Vader goes, all right, that says something
Yeah.
about your ability to be
I will
imposing.
narrowly definitely give that to Tarkin then on the imposing.
Yeah.
So
Disregard for life. Well, we already went over that.
yeah,
a little
disregard
bit,
for life was Hux. So destructive capability, like ability to cause pain and sorrow and sadness and all of that.
Tarkin's got way more experience.
He does.
He's got experience, but that almost makes it's like Hux has done worse with less experience.
Well, that's true, but I think also part of Tarkin, I want to give it to Tarkin here.
I want to give it
because-
to Tarkin because it's Tarkin.
Well, but here's what I'm thinking. Tarkin is... So Hux is destroying just almost like Kylo Ren out of rage, you
Yeah.
know? But Tarkin is going, yeah, the evil is a tool you can use, and you should use it as frequently as you can. That, to me, is even more dangerous in a way, more evil.
know.
And I think also, because Hux, remember, was grandfathered into his position relatively.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Tarkin
Tarkin
rose
did it
on
himself.
his own...
Yeah.
Yes, there is
His
that.
own
But
merits.
all of these add together to be like he's more capable and everything, which is definitely a point in his favor. But at the same time, the facts like Hux has the fear that's brought on by someone who doesn't know how to leash themselves. Someone
Here we
who
go.
doesn't know how to.
It should be Tarkin because even Starkiller Base in all of its awesome destructive glory is still following one particular doctrine, the Tarkin Doctrine, which is use fear to crush your enemies if you have to. You know, like you build super weapons. Starkiller Base is literally going, Death Star, we can do bigger and better than that and cause even more fear. They're following the doctrine established by Tarkin. It's even in canon, current canon, it's called the Tarkin Doctrine.
We'll see.
Hux wants to be
I
a Tarkin.
reserve the right to revisit this after episode 9. We'll see. But
Fair, I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you
That
that.
is fair.
So
but yeah,
Tarkin.
for now, yeah, Tarkin. I'll grant Tarkin.
Okay. Oof.
Oh,
Guys,
Oh,
that was
the-
more intense.
the fight is real now. I hate all these last ones because it is so tooth and nail.
Well, I
you
don't know. This next one I feel is pretty straightrait.
Actually, I was going to jump across to the
okay.
miscellaneous bracket.
Cool.
Okay.
Never mind.
So
Yeah, it's still
we
pretty
have-
straightforward.
Still pretty straightforward. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. We have the droids versus Mirage Shintel.
Okay, so
It's the droids.
But Mirage, the slave. Well, yeah, they'd do the slavery
So
too if they had the chance.
it's literally the slave empire, but the droid's perspective is every biological meatbag should be dead because droids are superior, and they look for every opportunity to kill. Like
Yeah.
they are killing at every possible chance they can.
Yeah.
And BT in particular relishes killing people and tries, if he has the time, he prefers to make your death as miserable and excruciating and
Pretty
long
sure
as
that's
possible.
000.
Oh, 000, yeah. But yeah, the protocol droid, man,
Yeah.
he reins in the astromech on his murderous stuff and is like, wait, no, like, it would be better to enjoy their screams, don't you think? Okay, yeah, that's what, okay, so just help me get him in this chair and we'll tie him down and then I'll kill him slowly.
Yes.
Like, they are evil to the core.
Fair. All right. Yeah. I'll grant.
Okay. Droids move on.
Droids beat Mirage.
Next, we move up to Cad Bane versus Aura Singh.
Yeah.
Oh, this fight.
Cad
Holy
Bane,
crap.
I feel like we would generally know that Ara is a third place to Cad and Django.
She is, especially as a bounty hunter. I would say the only thing that she has that Cad Bane doesn't is the lesser respect for life.
Yeah, but I'd also say that almost puts her, she is the Hux to Cad Bane's Tarkin.
Yeah.
Like, she's more off the handle, and that makes her scary,
Yeah.
but he's more capable and in control and just as willing
For
to
sure.
do all the horrible things, despite
Yeah.
being reasonable.
Yeah, it's close, but yeah, I agree. There's no... Because even Ara herself respects Cad Bane's superiority
Yeah,
as a professional,
yeah.
you know.
All right.
Okay, the last of this set of 8
Oh my gosh.
is Darth Vader versus Emperor Palpatine.
So if you want to hear this fight at length, go ahead and listen to last year's villains bracket because it was these two in the final.
Well, and this,
If I
but
remember
this
right.
time we are
Different criteria.
talking about villainy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put this main factor out there for me. Darth Vader more or less returns to the light side. Palpatine doesn't, and kills Palpatine. But it's not an act of villainy when he does so. He's not taking over. He's not... Palpatine has no
Yeah.
redemption. There is a redemption for Darth Vader. There is not one for Palpatine. And that's basically...
Both are masters of the Sith, lords of the Sith.
Yeah.
They are not... technically, Darth Vader is still an apprentice because he is
He
the
hasn't
number
killed
2.
his master yet.
Right. But they are
But
both
he technically
considered...
dies the master.
Yeah, but they are technically both lords of the Sith. If they were Jedi, they would both be on the Jedi Council, right?
Yeah.
So they are of equal power, roughly, in
Sure.
the dark side. We know who would win in a fight.
Well, the reason why Vader won that one is because the Emperor was distracted.
We know who would win in a fight. That was last year's bracket.
No, that was last year's bracket. Like,
And
Vader wins in
won.
a fight. Mass destructiveness. Palpatine is the
I
one who goaded Vader into his
Correct.
mass destruction.
And, ruled the galaxy with an iron fist for 30 years and
Yeah,
caused
so-
lots of destruction and sadness there.
Much as I love Vader, I feel like his redemption and his subservience to Palpatine kind of clinches it for Palpatine.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Wow, there you go, Palpatine. You lose to Vader last time, you win against him this
He'd
time.
lose in a fight to Vader, which
Yeah.
we know. But,
Oh, man.
all right, this is an
Oh.
interesting set of matchups.
It really is.
Final 4.
Let's move to the Eastern Conference and do Cad Bane versus the droids 000 and BT-666.
I think I'm going to go with the droids again. What do you think, Kylie?
I really want Cad Bane to go on.
Yeah, but I just think
But
he's
I-
not evil enough. Like, as far
Yeah.
as villainy goes, like, if this was a fight, I would bet on him against the droids.
The droids are 100 proof evil.
Yeah, like, they're...
They are distilled evil.
Yeah. And maybe, someone else programmed them to be like that. It's not their choices or something, but that doesn't matter.
No, but they
This
have
is-
free will, though.
Well, whether they do or
limited
not, that
free
doesn't
will,
matter.
yeah.
This is about who's the better villain. And I don't care if they were programmed. Like, the Terminator was a terrifying villain. It doesn't matter that he was programmed that way.
Yeah.
He's still terrifying. And,
Yeah, it would be a showdown for the ages in that face-off.
but as far as disregard for life goes,
they win
as far
for
as
sure.
destructive capability goes, it might still be the droids.
I think it is the droids because neither of them have a terribly widespread effect as far as their destruction
Yeah.
goes. It's usually pretty,
But they're doing it
contained
for
to
the fun
air.
of it.
Yeah,
Whereas Cad Bane's rating,
right, and that's what
Cad
I'm saying
Bane's doing
is
as someone
the
pays
extent of their like extracurricular damage is pretty limited geographically to
Yeah.
kind of the area that they're working in. It never really radiates beyond that.
Yeah.
But the droids cause so much more damage when they're out doing things.
I will say that I do think Cad Bane cuts a better figure, but
Yeah. Ugh, dang it.
So the droids move on?
yeah.
BT and 000. Oh my goodness.
Okay,
I can't wait for this finale. It's going to be so good.
back to our Western Conference. We have Emperor Palpatine versus Grand Moff Tarkin.
Palpatine.
Yeah, I mean,
Palpatine is Tarkin in all of the ways that Tarkin is evil. Palpatine is, only more so.
yeah. Plus, you got the subservience factor that we had with Vader.
Right.
He's definitely going to win in a fight. And,
Yeah.
and as far as mass destruction goes, like, yeah, it's Palpatine. Huh. This is not a matchup I thought we'd have.
Neither did I. Wow.
All right,
Okay.
the final showdown
is between
Ross.
Emperor Palpatine and the droids 000 and BT-6.
And evil R2 and 3.
What in the world is happening? What the crap bracket is this? Holy crap, this is incredible. Wow.
So,
I'm just appreciating
personal destructiveness
the
and
insanity.
wide-scale destructiveness, I think, go to Palpatine here.
Personal destructiveness, I would not say.
I
would give it to the droids.
I would put Palpatine
The arsenal
in a fight.
of ways to inflict death and pain are myriad. with the
Vader has
droids.
beat BT-666 in a fight. Palpatine is
that's
pretty close to beating
true.
Vader.
Oh,
Pretty sure Palpatine could beat them in a fight.
'Cause, yeah, I think if you were to
Yeah,
let's imagine a couple different scenarios. So you have the droids and Palpatine in separate rooms. Both rooms are full of 100 people. Who goes through them faster?
the droids, for sure. The
You think
droids.
so?
Oh yes,
Actually, yeah, I might give
because like the evil R2, when he like goes like full deployment, he's got like 12 weapons
that. Yeah,
out.
he's
missiles,
basically
lasers,
a
and
miniature
stuff.
tank.
Imagine an
disguised
evil
as an
Swiss
astromech.
Army knife.
Yeah.
But,
But there's also a lot of factors that I'd also consider where I'd be like, yeah, the two of them might go through them quicker unless, this happens to be a room with an airlock attached to it, in which case Palpatine might just flip a switch and walk, but even then he's not necessarily
So with the
relishing the
droids,
destructiveness as much.
Yeah,
Like-
the droids would enjoy it more for
I
sure.
don't know about that. If Palpatine, Palpatine clearly enjoys his destruction when he's doing it. Watching him
Yeah,
and
torture
Dooku,
Luke.
and I mean, I'm going back to Clone Wars when he and Dooku fight Maul and Savage Opress, and just the glee that Palpatine takes in curb stomping his former apprentice. Like,
Yeah, he's a poor winner.
it's nasty.
but I'm also thinking in a tight enough space, Palpatine shoots one giant blast of force
He does
lightning.
have the force lightning.
You
I'm going to
know-
put it this way: this room of people needs to be destroyed. BT and 000 are like, oh, we can do that faster, and Palpatine's like, yes, please let them. That would be enjoyable, and he's going to enjoy every moment of it, and then kill them when they're done. Like,
Oh, and that was the other scenario. Is then you put the two of them against each other. Who wins in a fight? That's Palpatine.
Palpatine, yeah. And as far as disregard for life goes, theirs is clearly pretty significant, but so is his. And this is one of the things where it's like, I feel like the programming thing is a factor where they are in scary villains because of that, but he's almost scarier because he is human. And he's as bad as them.
Yeah, but Palpatine doesn't want every living being dead.
That's true.
Because there'd be no one left to control.
But if
Right.
if someone were to try and kill all of them, I would bet on him before them.
There's a little bit of care in his voice, though, when he finds half-burned, lost the high ground Anakin.
Yeah, because his toy's broken.
Right, but there's still a little element of care. BT would not care at all. 000 would not care at
But
all.
see, I think actually in this case, the enslavement is worse because it's then dooming everyone to a lifetime of torture rather than torturing them for a while and killing them off. I think in this case, actually, the servitude wins.
And I actually do think, I will give BT and 000, cutting a more imposing figure maybe over Pre Vizsla. I wasn't really hugely sold on that. Over Mirage, sure. But over Palpatine, I don't quite know. He's lost that on to some other people, but I don't know if he loses it to evil 3PO and R2. Especially because BT does not cut a particularly imposing figure. He's specifically designed not to.
Yeah.
He's disguised as an astromech droid, and I like the unexpectedness of, oh, it's 3PO, but he's not behaving like a protocol droid should. That's nice, but I still think Palpatine clinches that. And also, there's just the whole, basically everything that bad that ever happened across this entire 60-year period in the galaxy. Yeah, that was instigated by me. That's some widespread destructiveness.
All right, I'll give it to Palpatine.
60 years, potentially 90.
Yeah. Yeah, don't know.
Stop it, Ross. You and your dumb fan theories.
I agreed without thinking. I didn't mean it, people. But he is. Yeah, there's a reason he is the owner and bartender of the Villains Pub. He's one of the greatest villains of all time. I think he
It's
belongs there.
Palpatine. Palpatine is the champion.
Yeah, and it's funny because if we just had original trilogy Palpatine, I'd be like, yeah, he was, a scary old man and stuff. It's really the prequels of all things
and Clone Wars
and the Clone Wars that really sell us on just how bad Palpatine is.
But wait.
And even the Darth Vader comics have
Another
given me a new
challenger
appreciation
appears.
for that. Yeah, I was waiting for this.
Are you guys ready?
Yep.
So this is a versus match. Just for fun. They're not actually going to challenge Palpatine. George Lucas versus Ryan Johnson.
Yep. I called it. You can ask my wife. I told her, yep, Kyler's going to give us George Lucas versus Ryan Johnson. And then Ross and I will look at each other and be like, well, obviously, George. I mean, Ryan created a work of art that is massively popular with the majority of the Star Wars fan base, aside from some really loud and angry people who just can't let go of this. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty clearly not Ryan Johnson.
Okay, so...
Oh, it probably the people behind Rogue One.
Who's more personally lethal? Who would win in a fight?
See, this is a villains matchup, Kyler. You haven't picked villains for us.
Oh, do it. Make them fight.
No.
Come on! Oh.
How about this? Who's the worst villain in Star Wars? Let's go with Palpatine or a good chunk of the Star Wars fan base.
Oh.
Oh, man. Wow, that's actually a fun one.
Okay, I didn't mean this, though. Like, seriously. That's not a matchup I actually want, but...
Well, of the stereotypical bad Star Wars fan, so we're not labeling anyone in particular.
Okay, so, well, let me put some context. So we had a section that was cut from the last episode. Well, it wasn't cut. It was lost because we never actually recorded it, where we discussed... I mentioned a tweet that I saw this last week that our friend Ryan Farron retweeted, and it was a woman talking about Rogue One and using it as proof that, like, oh, all these people complaining about how Star Wars fans hate everything and how they're so horrible and how they hate women and da-da-da. This is proof against that. And a lot of what she was saying, I was like, well, obviously I don't agree with what you're saying about Rogue One. She was like, well, basically everyone likes Rogue One. And I was like, she said everyone she knows. And I was like, okay, well, the people I know are split about 50-50. But, the point you're making here is that Star Wars fans get a bad rap. Like, they're not horrible people. They're not jerks that are out to get everyone. They don't hate everything. And I was like, yeah, I think that's fair. There are people who are doing that, but generally speaking, the Star Wars fan base is great. And then I went in to actually make this tweet, and I scrolled past all the responses to her tweet, people who are there to agree with her. And I went, no, never mind, I'm putting this away. Because there were just so many people that seemed... even while agreeing with her, seemed absolutely determined to prove her wrong. Like, they were just being horrible to each other and to anyone who had disagreed with them. And then you have stuff like Mars Experience coming onto Twitter and being like, hey, I just watched Star Wars for the first time, and these are my thoughts on it. And wow, she got treated like crap.
Everybody jumped down her throat.
And it's like,
Ridiculous.
there's a noticeable problem with the Star Wars fan base. Obviously, it's not everyone. I don't even think it's the majority.
Yeah.
I think it's just a very loud and angry group of people within a very small minority.
It's a group of people that have learned how to work the abilities of the internet to look bigger and get more done.
Yep.
But,
and there are people out there who would want to be like, yeah, the people who dislike The Last Jedi. No, rein that in too. Mm-hmm. You can't lump in one group with the other. There are jerks who like The Last Jedi. There are jerks who dislike The Last Jedi. It is not evenly divided on any camp. There are plenty of these people outside the Star Wars fandom too. There's just a notable loudness of them within the Star Wars fandom. So, but yeah, as far as doing destruction to Star Wars itself, I would say the Star Wars fan base has a pretty good...
Yeah.
And they basically, if you read the subtext of the new trilogy, they basically are the villains of the new trilogy. So there's that.
See, that's the thing is so okay. Let's take the dark portions of the Star Wars fan base. Just the collection of ideas, right, and their general tendencies, putting them and talking about them in the sense of our villains bracket. So ability to cause destruction, personal lethality.
Well, not causing destruction. They're mostly just causing anger.
But
anger and grief. There's a lot of grief out of that.
You have people leaving Twitter, leaving the public eye.
That's true.
You have people issuing death threats. Now, obviously, those things don't go through nearly as often as they are threatened.
And again, there are people on all sides of every issue that are doing this.
Sure. And that's what I'm saying.
We're not trying to single out any specific person or group of people.
Right. I'm talking about the
but
collection
behaviorally,
of ideas. Right.
The people who are behaving this way, no matter what cause they're behaving that way in favor of.
And then,
Yeah, they're
and then we
pretty
talk
nice,
about
too.
an imposing figure,
No.
a faceless mass
No.
that is unknowable and
Still no. They're
And
just they want to be imposing
massive.
and they're not. They want to be
They're
like, oh yeah,
impotently
look
imposing.
at our anonymous masks. We're so scary. And it's like, no, you're really not. You're just a bunch of idiots.
Well,
Although, you know what? If Kelly Marie Tran wants to correct me on how scary they are, I will accept anything she says as gospel.
well,
but
and then you also have to talk to Daisy Ridley.
yeah, and any of the above.
and
I'm sure
Mar.
Kathleen Kennedy has a strong familiarity with it. Anyway,
No,
so that went into weird places.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a good recap of what we had to say last time. That didn't get recorded.
Yeah.
But
That's fair. Anyway, but Palpatine it is. And if you don't have Palpatine as the winner of your villains bracket, you're officially wrong. Congratulations.
yep. So with that, I think we'll bid you all adieu.
Mhm.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this bracket as much as we enjoyed recording it. It was pretty fun and definitely surprising. Did not expect movie/TV people to make it this far. I mean,
Yep.
that was to have a comment.
Well, and especially characters that almost seem they're just parodies. Like
Yeah.
they don't even seem real, but
Yeah.
they're good. Like,
They're there.
I've read some of them now, and I can't argue with that.
Let us know if you guessed that Palpatine would win.
Yeah, it feels like he was
Yeah.
always a strong possibility there.
Or let us know if you thought BT and 000 were going to make it to the finale. Because if you did, wow.
Yeah.
Your prescient abilities are amazing. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at More Civilized and join our Facebook group, A More Civilized Podcast.
where you can see such posts as the one from our favorite listener for this week, Caleb Ovard, our good buddy
Yeah.
and also previous guest here on the podcast,
Yes, sir.
posted a little while ago an awesome video about the Nerf Star Wars,
Oh yeah.
where these guys had just cut together
The office fight with
an
Star
office
Wars.
fight with lightsabers and things. It was hilarious.
That was pretty solid.
Yeah, loved it. So thank you, Caleb, for lightening our lives with that post. And you can talk with me on Twitter at Mr_R_star.
Yeah, I'm on there. Itinerant Baxter. Places you want to find the podcast. Things you want us to talk about on the podcast. Go.
Wow, Chris is getting efficient.
Yeah, I'm tired. All right. So, goodbye.
And
Is that too
Force
efficient?
be
I'm sorry.
with
May the force be with you.
Too quick.
always.
I'm Anna Graves, and thank you for listening to a more civilized podcast.
Our days of being adequate have certainly come into an end.
Yeah. They sure are. All right, let's start this circus, shall we?
Speaking of having no soul.
Yeah, no kidding. That
Sorry
was
if you heard
unusual.
that don't have a soul comment. That was meant to be behind your back.
I see
nope.
newsy news. I
it
see
nope.
newsy news. I
it
see
nope.
newsy news. Wolf barking. That's so good.
The nice thing is it's not pug specific, so if you ever get any dog,
It's
you
true.
can do that.
Ooh.
Get yourself a nice
We did.
Doberman.
Someone made a roadside donation of a tabby kitten at the barn next door, or the horse corral thing. Anyway, so it was like starving to death, so we've been feeding it tuna, fish, but keeping it outside, hopefully, so that it will mouse a little bit for us.
Meowthra Naruto.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. No, we went with Frumpkin.
Did you?
Yeah.
A little orange tabby?
Meowthra Naruto. That's fantastic, though. Okay, we need a pet name pun episode.
I think we're about at the limits of my
You underestimate my power.
Darth Meow. I did reject for the pug. I did reject Pug Dameron and Emperor Pugpatine.
There are so many better names than Akbar, Ross.
Nope.
Literally
Nope,
every
they're
name Chris has suggested is better.
That is not true. While they do have value on their own. Not for our little boy.
Admiral Barkbar.
Oh, that's even better, Ross.
What? Come on.
I agree that one's not better, but
Oh, I think it is. It's a dog. Pun name. Alrighty.
Jabba the Pug would also.
Which, I mean, it's a pug, so it might end up being there someday.
Ross, do it.
Depending on how.
Do it while it's
we are.
still a little hutling. A pugling. A podling. Oh, word association is fun. You're a pooper. trooper, Chris.
Sorry.
Of parties.
I am. I've been
Oh, and I didn't get a chance to read what Dave had to say about the
Does she
Mandalorian.
poop at parties? She's a party pooper.
I've pooped at parties. Does that mean I'm a party pooper too?
Does that mean I'm a party pooper? This outro is going to
Captain
be...
Phasmo. Phasmio.
Meow, that's fantastic.
Meow is a lot easier to pun than Bark and all those others. Fits a lot.
Meow Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, Meow Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's nice.
Meow's Windu.
That needs to go to like a mouse.
Mouse Windu.
Windu.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you feed to Supreme Leader Snake.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
Oh, it's fantastic. Wow.
All while your goldfish Admiral Akbar watches.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's the only sensible creature for that name.
You're training to bite your toes.
And how will you train him exactly? By having him bite yours?
She already does, actually.
Ooh, Armitage pucks.
Oh, that's so good. There's so many good choices.
That's actually decent. I think that would have been in there.
This will all be some great outro material. You might need to move it to the one where we actually discussed your bug.
Just let it carry over. Let them know we're still thinking about it.
That's right. A week later, we haven't let this go.
Pugafett.
Ooh, Pugafett. That's not bad.
It's not great either.
That's true.
Pug Vizsla.
Pug Vizsla. Oh.
Sapugba. That's terrible. That doesn't work. I take it back. We finally found the name that is worse for that pug than Akbar. Your pug is cute, but the name just disappoints me, Ross. We were going to convince Carrie to go with Will Wolf Barkin.
Your lack of awesome pug names.
But your lack of awesome pug names is disturbing.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw you were struggling there. So
I was. I appreciate it. I appreciate the recovery.
Well, have we given Ross enough outro material?
Not by half. We'll get there. Let's aim for the longest outro ever. On this random villains bracket episode. I guess if it were an explicitly comedic episode, we wouldn't need the outro because we just leave all the comedy in.
What makes you think that I'm going to keep this whole monologue on how you guys hate my naming?
Because it's hilarious and
It
people
is
will
pretty
enjoy
darn
it.
funny.
Right. But what makes you think I'm going to keep it?
Because it's hilarious and people will enjoy it, and you will do it for the podcast.
Paura Singh.
The outro.
Oh, that was a good one.
The outros are completely at my discretion. Remember,
Para Singh.
unlimited power.
Ross, Para Singh, did you not hear that?
I did hear it.
Oh,
Paura
that
Singh
was
wouldn't
so
work for
good.
Akbar. Akbar is male, right?
'Cause, I mean,
Yeah.
you should even do it better and say Pugra Singh or something like that.
No, paw. Like
Paw.
Paws.
Oh,
Yeah,
Paura.
that was good.
you guys are dumb and I hate you.
I've got a Lord of the Rings name for you.
Get yourself a prawn and have it. Admiral Prawn. That one's subtle. A lot of people wouldn't get it.
Ross, I got a Lord of the Rings name for you for your puppy if you wanted to just avoid all of this. Tailbow Wagons. Come on, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Woo!
All right.